Ty Woofenden of Great Britain stood on top of the podium in Torun, Poland as the 2013 FIM Speedway World Champion after a season that had all the twists and turns of a great novel. Different winners, crashes and injuries was the story of the series, which included Chris Holder, the defending world champion, being sidelined for half the season after a bad crash. Even Woofenden had his share of injuries, finishing the year with a broken collarbone. But as the start of the season draws upon the new champion, a crash in a meeting in the UK has left him not fully fit to start his title defence.
I had a pretty big crash, shot me up in there and landed on my back, and my bottom 3 vertebrae are pretty locked up, you know. I'm really struggling out the start. You know, when you rev it up and dump your clutch, and that first initial where you drop onto your bike and your bike's going forward, that's I'm just finding that pretty hard at the moment, but we'll figure it out.
In 2014, the Grand Prix Series celebrates its 20 years of existence in the current format and starts here in Auckland, New Zealand. The inaugural event in 2012 saw 2-time world champion Greg Hancock start the defence of his crown with a win here alongside triple world champion Nicky Pedersen. Both men know the importance of leaving the Southern Hemisphere with a good result.
You need to get off to a good start, otherwise it feels like it's an uphill battle all the time. And for me, you know, the last 2 years have been awesome, and even the year before that, I started off not bad. But if you're playing catch up all the time, you got to work extra hard, and that's okay. However, when you can set the pace, it's also kind of a blessing because you know that you can be better too.
I think to actually be fighting for the World Championship, you need to have a good kickoff. And also it pays it off with the hard work you've done in the winter. So definitely it's one of those meetings, you know, you're pretty tense, you know, you want to do well, you know, and media and press and the other riders, you want to see where you are compared to them. But I'm an experienced rider, you know, I look forward to it, you know, I really enjoy to come down here, so I can't wait for Saturday.
After New Zealand, the series returns to its familiar roots throughout Europe. 12 grueling rounds face the riders to find this year's world champion. Yes, thank you for joining us wherever you're watching around the world. Magnificent weather conditions in Auckland, New Zealand for the opening round of this year's World Speedway Grand Prix Series. Temperature here around the 20-degree mark. There's a very slight breeze, and as you can see, a massive crowd has assembled here at the undisputed home of Speedway in New Zealand for the opening tilt of the 2014 championship title. I'm joined by triple world champion Jason Crump. Tremendous occasion here.
Absolutely awesome. It looks great. The track's in perfect condition, and I can't wait for the tapes to go up in Heat 1. Yes, and that's only a matter of a couple of minutes away. This stadium was in fact built back in the Great Depression in 1929 and was opened originally to serve the sports of cycling, athletics and soccer, or football, and has a magnificent history. And of course, New Zealand as a country has a tremendous history in speedway motorcycle racing at international level, having produced 3 iconic world champions: Ivan Major, Ronnie Moore, and of course Barry Briggs. Riders on screen pushing out for heat number 1, and the local New Zealand star, the wildcard entry Jason Bunyan, will be seen in action here in heat number 1. Denmark's Kenneth Bier and England's Chris also a tremendous field to start the proceedings. Of course, Jason, a new numbering system being used in the Grand Prix in season 2014, something quite different for this sport.
Yeah, that's right. The riders have actually been able to choose their boyhood numbers, I guess, and bring that into the professional world of speedway, which is a change, and it's something that could possibly take a little bit of getting used to, but I think it's a good move by the organisers.
Indeed. So Bunyan, for example, has chosen 16, as you can see on the extreme right-hand side of screen. Darcy Ward 43, Bier 91, Harris 37, but will still use the tried and tested formula of helmet colours for the broadcast of these races. Wonderful atmosphere here. So in this opening heat of 20, Jason Bunyan, New Zealand red, Darcy Ward, Australia blue, Kenneth Bier, Denmark white,
Chris Harris, England. Yellow helmet colour. The red inside gate dominated the event here. The corresponding Grand Prix in 2013. 15 of the 23 races won from gate 1.
Yeah, I've actually just been down on the track and had a look at the starting positions. They all look pretty even at the tapes. However, gate 1 on the run to the first corner looks to have a bit more drive there. Darcy Ward, considered by many people to be among the favourites for Grand Prix glory in 2014. An exceptional talent who can do miraculous things on a 500cc motorcycle. Opening heat on the 2014 World Championship. Jason Bunyan, the Kiwi, is closest to camera. Great shot of the massive crowd on that 6. Here we go, racing Bunyan. We see sweeping to the race lead Kenneth Bier like a shot out of a gun in second spot. Bunyan doing a pretty good job, and Darcy Ward is third, getting in his spot. Darcy picked up that grip on the inside of the corner anyway into turn 3. Let's start with Bier from position 3. Bier about 6 black lengths in front as they race down the back straight and through turns 3 and 4. Bunyan doing an outstanding job, the local New Zealander. Very competitive in this opening. Darcy's working hard, but with the wet shale flying, he's not getting a good run at the moment. And Darcy's a fair way back from the leader. So, back in business in 2014. Down the main straight, yellow flag on the side. With this 413-metre Western Springs venue, Darcy Waters got up on the inside of Bunyan. As you look at Bier, the Australian now up in the second place. The checkered flag unfolds. And Bier, the day takes the opening points here in heat number 1. Darcy Ward, aggressive as always. It took him a couple of laps to get wound up there, but he certainly chose his moment there on the last lap to come up the inside of Bunyan. So, outstanding performance by the Dane in the opening heat, letting his intentions be known from the outset. A great start from wide out. And a recap through points to Bier. Darcy Ward 2 points in second. Bunyan, the local hope, 1 point. And Chris Harris, the Englishman, will be very disappointed with that. He was one of the quickest riders during practice. And you were impressed with Chris leading into this event today. I was. It's always tough coming off gate 4 early on. But, I mean, the start Kenneth made off gate 3 justifies the fact that the starts all look pretty even. Jason Bunyan impressed me there. There we go. Oh, what a jump by Kenneth off gate 3. Darcy probably missed it a little bit, but Bunyan's right there on the inside. Tight first corner. They've all probably missed the grip a little bit right around the pole line and drifted a little bit up.
So a look from head on, out of the tapes, and Bier able to squeeze Darcy Ward for room about 30 metres into the race. And Ward from Brisbane, Queensland, lost his momentum at that point. It took him 3 laps to get going.
Yeah, he did. He had to ride very, very hard to get that extra point for second place.
The New Zealand FIM Speedway Grand Prix. You're looking at Ward. Now, bikes on the racetrack for heat number 2. Great to have you with us. Another World Championship season is underway. And they are still pouring into this venue. A tremendous field here. Chris Holder, former world champion, riding with 23 on his back. He won the Australian Championship for the 5th time during the traditional Australian season. Look, Jason, he's still nowhere near fully fit.
I think it's a credit to Chris that he's actually here riding. I think the severity of his injuries are probably not known by everybody, but he's done a tremendous job to be here taking part in this Grand Prix.
So the Aussie Bachelor, red gate 1, Chris Holder from Sydney, blue gate 2, Mate Zager, and white from gate 3, and Nicky Pedersen, the triple world champion, yellow gate 4.
Nicky's going to need one of his superstars on gate 4 here.
Arguably one of the most aggressive riders in the world is Pedersen. Let's see how this pans out. Bachelor, just his second Grand Prix appearance. Got a pretty reasonable Greg Pedersen got a tremendous run down the back straight.
He's not giving up on this. He's putting some pressure on Chris now. He's going for the outside. He's lining up an inside run here, I think. Yeah.
Side by side, Holder and Pedersen. The Dane goes to the front. The checkered flag is out. Holder gives it a fistful on the outside. But Pedersen across the start-finish line. The Dane comes up trumps in heat race number 2. A wonderful ride. 3 points. And an outstanding start for his 2014 campaign.
What a ride. What an effort for 3.5 laps there. He weighed Chris up. After 2 laps, Chris looked like he was getting away, but Nicky just kept going, going at him, and what an entry to the first bend there on the 4th lap to get in a bit wider and cut back on the inside. Made an unbelievably long straight there and just out-dragged Chris to the entry of the 3rd bend.
Yep, he went wide and then cut back. There's the results on screen. Pedersen, Holder, Batchelor, Zagar. 3 points to Pedersen. That he's appeared in 69 Speedway Grand Prix finals. He certainly is one of the all-time greats.
And a start like that from Nicky will pump him up.
Another look at this with 3 times world champion Jason Crump.
Yeah, Troy Batchelor made a good jump, but I think probably lifted. Right there, he's probably in front. Chris was really hard on the way into the first corner. There wasn't a lot of room. From that shot there, you would almost think Nicky's going to go around everybody, but Chris got right down tight and dragged him out.
So they're banging elbows into the first turn. Holder.
What a move by Nicky. And he held the inside line right there. He didn't drift up and try and take Chris anywhere. He just stuck to his guns and rode the inside line.
Classic Speedway from a very experienced rider. He has ridden in 133 Speedway Grand Prix. Second only to Greg Hancock, the American, who's ridden in 168. There's Chris. Look, he'll be a little disappointed, but he's come up with 2 points in his opening ride. Not all bad. So we now turn our attention to heat race number 3. And speaking of Greg Hancock, arguably one of the most popular riders at World Championship level, you're looking at him on screen, and we'll line up in heat race number 3.
The first 2 heats we've had completely different results from the start. You know, the start in heat 1 was made by Pierre from gate 3, and then in that race that Paul Zagar off gate 3 completely missed it. So I think that shows that we've got a pretty even draw across the line for today.
Okay, so from right to left, it's the Dane Niels Christian Iversen in red, the German Martin Smolinski in blue, the American Greg Hancock in white, the Swede Fredrik Lindgren in yellow. He starts from gate 4 in his opening ride. Niels Christian Iversen, one of the really big success stories of the 2013 World Championship. Had a fantastic series. Smolinski, well, it's all new to him. We'll see how he fares. Greg Hancock, incredible record, the only rider to have ridden in every World Grand Prix since the tournament's inauguration in 1995. Takes flying on the inside. Iversen away. On the outside of the yellow helmet colour, it's a drag race down the back section. Iversen has the lead, and he leads the Swede now. Lindgren looks for the straight on the inside. Very, very tightly packed in the main straight.
Great start again from Lindgren, just not quite able to get the run on Iversen down the back straight. Smolinski's having a good go around the inside here, getting up the inside of Lindgren.
And Greg Hancock, Jason Crump is out the back.
I'm surprised I'm actually stunned at that.
Yeah, no surprise. So Iversen continuing his good form from last year. Smolinski, very competitive, the German, in his opening ride up to second. So he relegates Fredrik Lindgren back to third. And the American dual champion Greg Hancock is struggling at the moment.
Smolinski's got an unbelievably tight line around the inside. He picked Lindgren off very, very easily, and he's made some speed up on Iversen in first.
So checkered flag is poised. Iversen is going to take it, but it's been some ride by Smolinski. He'll be thrilled with that. So Niels Christian Iversen. A great ride by him from the inside starting gate, winner of Heat 3, bagging 3 points. We'll bring check out the official placings in just a moment. No shortage of Danes here in the crowd. A lot of Poles as well. And there's a stack of Aussies. So Everson 3 points for the victory. Smolinski 2 points in second. Lindgren, who started really well, will be disappointed that he faded to finish third there and hence net 1 point. But even more disappointed is Greg Hancock coming up with 0 in his opening ride. Who would have ever thought that would be the case?
No, I wouldn't have thought that. Greg actually made a decent jump, but it looked like he got a fair bit of wheel spin to the corner, so maybe he thought the track was going to be a bit more drivey than it actually was. But Smolinski was impressive in that race.
Of course, Everson, the winner of 2 career Grand Prix, has ridden in 6 finals as we have a look at this again.
He dragged to the first corner pretty well, but again, from that shot, you would think that Lindgren's going to go around him. Maybe that bodes well for later in the night when the material builds up a bit. Yeah, you can see there Greg's just really kind of spun a little bit and couldn't get where he wanted to be on the first turn. I thought Niels Christian Everson looked very fast there. He looked very fast and smooth. Oh, Smolinski caught a rut right there, right round the inside.
Did well to hold on to it, and Lindgren was in close proximity to him at the time. So there's the pit area of the Dane. Pit number 4 will be next. And Martin Smolinski, we look at him in his pit area too. And he'd be thrilled with that. Great opening start by him. Pit number 4, of course, is next on the event. And this heat, including the first round. Andreas Jonsson, the Swede, red. Jarek Hampel, the Pole, blue. Ty Wolfenden, the world champion from England, white. Christoph Baschazak will line up in the yellow helmet colour, gate 4 from the outside. Second pole into this event. Hampel has been outstanding. Of course, he's the defending New Zealand FIM Speedway Grand Prix champion. Looked tremendous here in practice yesterday. There was not a quicker rider at Western Springs, Jason.
No, there wasn't. Jarek was probably the class of the field in practice, but today's a different day, and he's got to make the start and get out and use that speed he had yesterday.
Wolfenden, of course, far from being fully fit. A nasty accident in the British Elite League, carries back shoulder, and a foot injury into this Grand Prix this weekend, but he's as tough as teak, as we know. How will the world champion fare in his opening title ride of 2014 takes fly? The Swede sweeping across from the outside of the track, takes a very commanding lead. Early in this race, Jonsson runs in second position, Hampel is third, back on the race straight. Start from gate 4 by Casper. I think Hampel actually missed it a bit. I think he was a bit slow there, but Casper blew them away to the first corner, and Jonsson's now having a go. He's trying to use that wider entry and cut back. And is out the back and struggling to keep up at the moment. This leader Casper Zach, but he's under siege for Andreas Jonsson. Jonsson moves a lot closer as they go down the back straight. You can see the gap is just the one bike length. They sweep through the top turns. The racetrack is riding beautifully during this early stage of the meeting. Casper continues to lead as well. He hasn't put a wheel wrong. He's getting some pressure from Andreas, but I don't think he's going to make a mistake and lose it from here. He rides a nice tight line. The Swede throwing everything at him. But under the checkered flag, Christoph Kasperzak takes the win. Grabs the 3 points. Andreas Jonsson, good signs from him early in the event. So Kasperzak doing it beautifully from the outside starting gate. Yeah, what a start. That was an awesome start from Christoph there. Disappointing start to the meeting for Ty. So let's check this out now. Kasperzak, 3 points the victory. Jonsson, 2 points. Hampel, the 1. And Ty Wolfenden won't be impressed. No points. So at the completion of the opening round, Everson, Pedersen, Kasperzak and Pierre, all obviously equal leaders. Ward and Holder, Jonsson, Smolinski. Very happy race winner. He might be struggling a bit with the heat. I said he was happy. He doesn't look that happy after all.
He'd be very, very happy with that start, that's for sure. Andreas made a good jump, but he got a bit sideways on the run to the corner. Kasperjak's clear. He had no pressure at all on the way into the corner. What a start.
It was sensational. Wolfenden not able to stay on equal terms with him or get on equal terms with him at any point in time.
Unbelievable. The way the race went in Heat 1, Pierre made a blinder off Gate 3. I thought it was going to work, but we've seen Hancock and Wolfenden both have disastrous starts from Gate 3.
So onto the main straight again. And checkered flag. Of course, there's been no shortage of gamesmanship, if I can use that expression, during the lead up to this Grand Prix. Speaking of Ty Wolfenden, it's a fairly big sensation in the press here ahead of today's event, where he claimed, and I quote, Nicky Pedersen is an idiot who will run you up to the fence if he has the opportunity. And of course, Nicky didn't like it very much, Jason.
I don't think anybody would have liked it very much.
Okay, let's go down to the pits for the first time today. Here is Mark Gottlieb.
Martin Smolinski, congratulations, first ride of the season, and you got your first championship points.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I mean, just my gate wasn't the best, but I think the way I passed the people, you could see I had a good pace, you know. I'm passing nearly 2 people, or just even the first turn and then come back, you know, so I'm very pleasant. And it's going good. I think that's going to be a nice season for me.
We haven't seen too much domination from the inside gates. It's been pretty even so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite even, but I think in the May it's not even about the gate, because the track is very, very good prepared. The best compliment to be signed to Trackman's Ole Olsen. And I think it's very good because, you know, you can see you can overtake on a track, and that's what the fans want to see.
Obviously, first time to New Zealand. How are you liking it so far?
Oh, it's very nice. I mean, just I enjoy the weather. I don't really feel away, you know. I feel like home. Everything is so nice and clean and very good organized. I mean, that's like a German quality. That's good.
Well, he's a very happy chappy, Jason. Everything's beautiful in his world.
It should be. He surprised me a little bit there, but he rode really well, and it's actually something that Martin Smolinski's known for. He's always been a bit of a curve crawler, and that worked for him tremendously well there.
29 years of age, and really, it's his crack in the big time. It's only his second Grand Prix ride tonight in New Zealand. He was 4th in the 2013 GP Challenge stage at Poole, and hence, by virtue of that, gained his entry into this season's World Championship.
Yeah, well, Niels Christian Iversen actually won that meeting. He hadn't secured his permanent GP spot at that stage, so Martin benefited from Niels' pre-qualification and took his chance with both hands. And you know, what a start to his year. And he is a German with a long tracking sort of background, and if one of the tracks is really going to suit him in this series, I guess it's probably this one here as one of the biggest tracks on the program.
Whilst you watch this interview that's being conducted for Polish
Z nami jedyny zawodnik, który dotychczas wygrał z trzeciego pola, więc Kenneth Biar, który bardzo dobrze wraca do cyklu Grand Prix. Kenneth, you're the only one who won from the white lane, and good comeback so far.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have another one. Got 2 of the 3, and it's pretty tough in that gate, but I had a good one.
Unbelievable. You know, I spoke with Greg a little bit this week.
Yeah, you were watching carefully and speaking with your mechanic. You were watching carefully other races, but there is no problem with the mechanical stuff set up for you so far, I hope.
I don't think so. Well, if we are having trouble and we can find more speed, we will be winning. So, but yeah, I'm staying with the same setup, and I'll be looking forward for next one.
Yeah,
and watching only for the tape for starts, yellow and red works as well. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Dziękujemy Kennethowi Bier, który bardzo się spieszy. Mówi, że przede wszystkim tak, bardzo dobrze, cieszy się, że bardzo dobrze powrócił do cyklu Grand Prix tymi 3 punktami. Jak na razie wszystko spisze się dobrze. Na pytanie o to, czy rozmawiał ze swoim mechanikiem i oglądając bardzo wnikliwie wszystkie pozostałe biegi, że nie ma większych problemów z dostosowaniem się do toru, okazuje się, że Kenneth też nie jest w stanie tego sam przewidzieć, ale dopóki wszystko będzie pracować, to oczywiście tych ustawień, które ma w swoim motocyklu, będzie się trzymać. No i jeszcze patrząc na te pola startowe, na samo wyjście spod taśmy, okazuje się, że pole pierwsze i czwarte też nie jest wcale takie tragiczne. Dziękuję bardzo.
Greg Hancock's gating ability, and he believes he derived great benefit from it. Tremendous crowd here at Western Springs Stadium in Auckland. I did allude to the conditions here at the top of our telecast today. It is absolutely perfect for Speedway. And some fun and games for the spectators here as well.
It's a great show. The stadium's got a lot of people into it. The track is prepared exceptionally well, and the gate positions look pretty even. It bodes well for a great meeting tonight. I think as the sun goes down, the dirt's going to build up on the outside, and we're going to get an outside line as well, which is where, you know,
that's the plan.
That's what I was always looking for.
You will.
And, you know, it's going to suit some riders. It's going to suit Darcy and Chris a lot to have something out there to go and hit. And it'll give the guys an opportunity to try some different lines out.
This venue, 413 metres on the pole line. It's a clay base, which makes it different when compared to other tracks around the world that host a Grand Prix round. But the organisers did bring 2,500 tonnes of shale in onto the surface, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Right now, let's go down to Mark Gottlieb in the pits with Chris Holder.
Chris, 2 points from your opening ride, but you looked furious at yourself for letting Nicky take you at the end.
You reckon? Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but just a little bit, you know, I rushed it probably a little bit in that race. I should have just calmed down, but, you know, I got a bit of pressure, a bit nervous, but made a good start, so that's cool, and yeah, won't make that mistake again.
Last year, inside gate dominated. This year, it's much more even.
Yeah, I haven't, to be honest, I didn't look too much after my heat, but yeah, hopefully all the gates are good, and that's fair for everyone then, but yeah, see what we can do the next one.
Obviously, last year didn't end great for you. How's the body feeling? How are you doing?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, feel sweet, so, you know, no excuses there. I feel good enough to do this, so yeah, just no more mistakes.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mark, also. So we now prepare for action in the second round of qualifying heats. Closest to camera is Kasper Zak, who scored a maximum 3 points in his opening ride. It was a great performance from the outset.
The winner of heat number 4, Christoph Kasjak. Gate number 2, the New Zealand wildcard.
Local New Zealand 7 times national champion Jason Bunyan returns to battle as well. The ride in blue from 2, Bachelor. The Aussie white from 3, the American Greg Hancock, desperate to make amends after a dismal opening ride. He'll line up on the outside wearing the yellow helmet colour. In heat number 5, we know how good he is. He'll sort his head out and the bike. Not expect a very different Greg Hancock in this race.
Yeah, just looking, I think Greg might have actually made a bike change.
Kasper Zak over on the inside. The Bachelor, he won't be unhappy with his opening ride tonight. He was competitive, he was aggressive. Got a bit of confidence out of that. He's very much the new boy on the block. He's been knocking on the door for a number of seasons. It's his chance in 2014. I don't think he's got any shortage of self-belief. So here's the start. Can Hancock make a flyer? The American legend on the outside. Or Kasper Zak closest to camera. And tapes up in heat number 4. Likewise, Troy Bachelor, the Aussie. They go side by side down the back straight. A better start in this one from Greg Hancock. He's up running third, and then he just went real wide. And Hancock is last again.
his first turn.
So the pole too good for them. Putting the cleaners through his rivals. Much to the delight of his legion of fans trackside. Wonderful start to season 2014. So Kasperzak, a 3-point haul in heat number 5, Batchelor. He'll be pleased with the 2 points. Bunyan 1 point. And Greg Hancock, he has it all to do, Jason Crump.
I'm stunned. Greg was so impressive in practice, but he's had 2 rides. He's ridden 2 different bikes. That was a fresh bike, and he doesn't seem to have the setup working at the moment, that's for sure.
So Poland continuing as a superpower in World Speedway.
You said before that Kasperzak was going to look happy. I think he's been a little bit under the weather. He's been suffering a bit with the flu, I think.
He's not well. We can see him go and sit straight down in the pits again. Another look at it.
Yeah, what a drive out. He was actually just there with them. Batch was in a really good position there. But Christoph's just riding a great line around the inside on the first turn. And once they got around the first bend, he was just gone. He was too fast.
Of course, this track, Jason, by virtue of its nature with the high banking, you can get your wheels in line quickly.
Yeah, Greg just losing his footing there on the way in. That's what I thought happened, and very lucky to save that. But you're right.
It was all the pole.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. The banking on this track does lend itself to making speed, and I guess that was Greg's aim on the way into the third bend to get up high, but he just took that roost at the wrong time on the left leg.
But Christoph unwell, and a shot of Troy Batchelor. The body language says it all. He's fairly impressed with himself, I would have thought.
Yeah, he's done himself proud. I mean, he's had 2 rides. He's got points in each, and that's a great way to start the meeting.
So heat number 6. The New Zealand FIM Speedway Grand Prix. Live action from Western Springs in Auckland. Hampel. Red Gate 1, the pole. Nils Christian Everson, the Dane, Blue Gate 2. Darcy Ward from Brisbane, Queensland, White Gate 3. Mete Zagar on the outside, Yellow Gate 4. Pretty handy rider. So Hampel will be looking to make amends in this race.
Yeah, Yarrick needs to use Gate 1. He needs to get a good start from here and try and get some fresh air. But this is a tough race. This is a really, really tough race.
There's Darcy Ward. You look at him moving forward. He and Everson. It will be on in the first corner. This is a tremendous heat for great riders here. So Hampel closest to camera. Heat 6. Darcy Ward, he was fighting, as he does, a winner of Heat 6, Mete Zagar. Outstanding performance. So Hampel is having a difficult start to the event, Jason, the defending New Zealand Speedway Grand Prix champion. Zagar, Ward, Hampel, Iverson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jarek's, he doesn't even look fast enough once the race is going. He made a good start there, and he didn't seem to go anywhere on the first turn.
So Kasperzak, leading the New Zealand Grand Prix at this early stage of the event. Unbeaten and has been absolutely well perfect.
Yeah, and it's been an open meeting so far. I mean, Zager, I think, ran a last in his first ride, and he comes back with a win. Everson won his first ride, and he's just run a last. Great start by Zager. Gate 4 seems to be doing pretty well. Jarek's there. From that angle, you can see Jarek's got a good run going. Zager's just gone straight for the dirt and the banking. And just the momentum's just carried him high and wide, and he's pulled right past Jarek, and Jarek's one of the fastest around.
No doubt about that. Zager building his momentum. Up high on the track, swept to the race lead and was never headed from there. 31 years of age, the Slovenian. He's a 12-time Slovenian Speedway champion. Jason, very quickly, you did a little bit of work with Darcy Ward leading into this event with his gating in Queensland.
Yeah, we did some work together, and you know, as with everything, there's no magic secrets or no magic recipe to it. I was just trying to point a few things out to Darcy, but it's going to take him some time to settle in. I think he's a pretty nervous sort of guy before the meeting when I was speaking to him. So a couple of second places, he's ridden hard for his points. And if he can get some gates together, he'll be as fast as anybody.
So, heat number 7. Smolinski impressive in his opening ride, the German. Red gate 1. Sweet Andreas Jonsson, blue gate 2. The Aussie Chris Holder. White gate 3. The Dane Kenneth Bier. Yellow gate 4. So Holder rather off to a solid start in the event. With a second placing, we'll be looking to go one better here. The 2012 world champion.
Certainly had a good opening ride.
Looking at Smolinski. I'll call him the smiling assassin. Happy-go-lucky disposition. Underway in heat number 7. Smolinski got away pretty well again. As we watch them sort themselves out on the first turn, Holder got a tremendous run off turn number 2. The Aussies out after the German as they race through the top turns and back onto the main straightaway, running very different lines. And Smolinski is the leader in advance of Chris Holder. Third is Kenneth Bier, and Bier starting to give Holder some hurry up now.
That inside line is working so well for Smolinski. He hasn't changed it. You saw from the start, he went straight to the inside for the first full lap. He just rode the inside line. Chris tried to get up there on the exit of turn 2, and he couldn't get it. And Smolinski pulled lengths on him on the pit bend.
The German clear-cut leader. He is really quick and smooth. Yellow flag down the main straight. Holder, the Aussie, giving it everything in second place. And he's being hounded by Kenneth Bier, who's fairly close, and Jonsson is a mile back in fourth. Here's the checkered flag, and across the line where the celebratory will stand. Martin Smolinski. What a great ride.
We'll be able to see him smile before he takes his helmet off.
Imagine how happy he'll be this time.
Yeah, what a great ride. As I said, he knew exactly what his plan was. He went from gate 1, he went right the way up the inside. He had the tightest entry to turn 1, and he held it all the way around. Very, very good effort to do that, because there are a few ruts starting to form on the inside, and he's using them to his advantage.
Yeah, he went faster when he hit them.
He did, and, you know, looking from our position, I would have thought Chris was going to pull around him, but he didn't manage it.
Martin Smolinski from Germany, 3 points. Chris Holder, Australia, 2 points. Kenneth Bier, Denmark, picking up the 1 point. Kasperzak on 6, leads the New Zealand Grand Prix. 1 point in advance of Martin Smolinski. Bier, a solid start to the event by him. Likewise, Darcy Ward and Chris Holder.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys up there right now. Maybe a few surprise names at the top of the leaderboard, but he's certainly ridden unbelievably well. Smolinski, he's surprised me. Yeah, he's a happy boy.
How good's that? I wish he'd sort of show what he really feels.
Look at him from the start. He hasn't gone out at all. He's gone down the grass all the way, and he's just ridden right the way around the inside. From that position, you're thinking Chris and Kenneth are going to be able to get the run, but he's just gone maybe 30 metres shorter with his line and blown them away.
Jason, Chris Holder has more screws in his right foot than you can care to count. How difficult has that got to be with the amount of pressure you've got to use on your right leg and your foot?
Christopher never stops impressing me. His mental toughness more than his physical condition at the moment is impressing me. I mean, to be out there racing, mixing it, putting himself in the positions he is, I take my hat off to him. But there's our race winner. He's probably over the moon, and if truth be told, he's probably surprised at how many points he's got after 2 heats as well.
I think that's absolutely fair comment. Heat 8, Chris Harris, red helmet colour, gate 1, England. Nicky Pedersen, Denmark, blue gate 2. Fredrik Lindgren, Sweden, white gate 3. Ty Wolfenden, England. The world champion, yellow gate 4.
Ty's definitely going to be looking to open his account in this race, as with Chris Harris as well.
Yep, and Pedersen in the blue helmet colour. Very fired up for this meeting. I alluded to it earlier. Ty Wolfenden, who criticised him heavily in the press. They meet in the Grand Prix for the first time tonight. Wolfenden said he was an idiot. Pedersen took exception to it. Racing in heat number 8, who will it be? To the first corner, it is Nicky Pedersen, the triple world champion, going quickly on the outside, Wolfenden, but Pedersen, the Dane, goes to the front. In second spot, the Swede, Fredrik Lindgren, and Wolfenden looking more competitive in this one.
He certainly is, but another great manoeuvre in the first turn. He's a Ricky come back, he's using the Smolinski line, and he's got right up the inside of Nicky, but he's not quite got the speed yet.
So Pedersen in charge, grinding away on the inside, though, is Lindgren. Good stuff here from the Swede. He moves a lot closer down the main straight.
I think he's realised the challenge is coming from the inside, and he's moved down, but he's blocked Fredrik's run there, but Fredrik gets an unbelievable run into the third man there on the inside. He's going to pressure Nicky all the way.
Yeah, and again he does the same thing. Yellow flag has been shown. Last lap now. The Dane under increasing pressure from Fredrik Lindgren. They've got 2 corners to negotiate here. Pedersen keeping it together. He's going to score the 3 points. He crosses the start-finish line. Fredrik Lindgren. Good stuff from the Swede. He was right in that race. And Ty Wolfenden, he was sitting back in third, having an epic look at that battle up front.
Yeah, he certainly probably didn't enjoy it very much, but maybe Ty is a bit more injured than he wanted to let on before the event started.
That's possibly a fair comment. Pretty happy-go-lucky. And Pedersen, 3 points. Lindgren, 2 points. Wolfenden, 1 point in third. Chris Harris really struggling at this early stage of the event. So Pedersen and Kasperzak equal on 6 in advance of Smolinski on 5. Then Pierre, Ward, Holder and Niels Christian Iversen.
Pedersen, the only unbeaten rider so far in the first 2 rounds of the Speedway Grand Prix, the 3-time world champion, has got the guns blazing here tonight in Auckland.
Enjoyable Grand Prix so far. Pedersen very much in the veteran category, getting the job done.
Yeah, Nicky using his strength there. The start was just a typical Nicky Pedersen start. I almost thought he'd gone too wide once Lindgren cut back to the inside, but he found some grip when he needed it and managed to pull away down the back straight. But Freddie stuck with him for the whole race, and I would think that although Nicky's won that race, he probably didn't feel as fast as he would have liked, and I would think that there's probably going to be some adjustments to the machine there.
So Pedersen at 37 years of age, showing he's as good as ever. World champion in 2003, 2007 and 2008. Has ridden in 133 Speedway Grand Prix events, heading into this weekend's event in New Zealand. A Speedway Grand Prix average of 11.85.
Yeah, I mean, Nicky's been world champion 3 times. You'd never underestimate him. And you know, something that the riders he's racing against will be looking at is to see how good Nicky's starts are coming.
Okay, let's head downstairs to Mark Gottlieb in the pits. He's with Greg Hancock.
Greg, you couldn't have asked for a worse start to the night, but the good news is there's a lot of racing to go.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, 2 starts that by far haven't gone to plan whatsoever. So, you know, we're working hard to make the right moves and get myself back out there in front.
It looks like it's almost impossible to pick who's going to get the start out of those gates.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's cool though because starts are being made out of gate positions that you thought they wouldn't make it too. So it's all down to the rider.
Obviously, the results aren't going your way, but the event itself, it's been great.
Yeah, that's right. You know, obviously I'm looking after myself right now, and I just want to get back and win ways, and then the event will be great.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair comment if you were Greg Hancock. 169th Speedway Grand Prix event here tonight has amassed 2,082 career points, has ridden in 947 heats, has won 332 of them, Jason, which is about 35% success rate in heats. That's extraordinary.
It is, it sure is.
Trudno się nie uśmiechać, patrząc na tego chłopaka blondyn, Krzysztof Kasprzak. Krzyku, powiem ci szczerze, jak ty po antybiotyku tak jeździsz, to ja się boję pomyśleć, co będzie, jak będziesz w pełni formie.
Może zawsze muszę brać antybiotyki.
Nie no, już bez przesady, ale dzisiaj bez żadnych problemów i jak widać brak tego czwartkowego treningu, o którym tyle wspominaliśmy, w ogóle jest niewidoczny.
No tak. Tak jest Speedway, to jest praktycznie silnik, który miałem dzisiaj, to jechałem ostatnio w finał w Tarnowie. Wczoraj zrobiłem 2 kółka, wiedziałem, że to jest dobry silnik i jedzie szybko i cieszę się bardzo, bo dzisiaj to jest bardzo ważne, że sprzęt to jest podstawa sukcesu.
Powiem ci, że po pierwszym biegu patrzyłem do waszego boksu, tam chyba drobne korekty zapłonu, bo w tym drugim miałeś taką przewagę, że chyba już przymykałeś gaz na ostatnim łuku.
Tak, zmieniliśmy troszkę tam zapłon, bo w tym pierwszym wyścigu czułem, że Andras mnie dogania, bo tam troszkę miałem za dużo mocy, a teraz już miałem dobrze i mam nadzieję, że z tego pierwszego pola znowu teraz będzie ok. Właśnie nie wiem, czy nie zmienić motoru i coś sprawdzić na te następne pola, ale jeszcze przedyskutuję z chłopakami i oby tak dalej do półfinału i do finału.
No już wy wiecie na pewno najlepiej, co robić, także my możemy tylko trzymać kciuki. Powodzenia, Krzysiu, dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję, proszę trzymać kciuki i pozdrawiam wszystkich kibiców.
Dziękujemy bardzo, tyle. Krzysztof Kasprzak.
You know, 2012 was a decision Melody and I made pretty early on that was going to be the end of it for the Grand Prix, and you know, the way a few things transpired through the course of the year, it became obvious that it was definitely the right time for me to stop. And you know, I've never looked back. It was a decision I took very seriously, and I'm very happy with it and satisfied with it and comfortable.
A stellar career, and we're very happy to have you up here embarking on your new career as an expert commentator, analyst. Let's head downstairs. Mark Gottlieb.
Christoph Kasprzak, great start to the race, 2 races, 2 wins.
Yeah, everything is working good, and I'm happy I win the race from gate 4 because it's really hard to win from this gate because it's a long way. And I have gate 1, really good start, and bike's working good. I feel now so good because I have flu. Last 3 days I spent in the bed, but now I looking good for rest of the meeting.
Obviously, great start. Are you not feeling well? You don't look particularly happy.
I have 39.7 yesterday temperature, and doctor helped me. And today I feel better, but still, when I'm race for laps, I cannot breathe. But I concentrate for the start. It's very important today on this long track, and I do the best for make the semi and final. Thank you.
Yeah, real case of riding tough today.
He'll be hoping he gets the flu before every Grand Prix if it's going to give him some form like that.
Track's riding well, Jason.
Track looks awesome. You know, before the meeting started, I was thinking that gate 1 was going to be a bit of an advantage, but I did say that gate 4 up the top was, you know, there was a bit of drive there. So it's absolutely credit to Ollie and the track guys that they've managed to make it so that riders are able to get to the first corner and dominate the first turn from every starting position. It's pretty hard to do that when you're making a track.
This is, of course, one of the world's longest-running dirt track speedways. Motorcycle racing first held at the Western Springs Stadium in December of 1935. And midget car racing, which is obviously a term very familiar with viewers around the world in places like America, here in New Zealand and Australia. It really is the staple diet, if you like, of speedway racing in this part of the world. It all began here on Christmas Day, 1937. On that note, let's head back to Mark Gottlieb, who's with the Dane, Niels Christian Iversen.
Niels, a bit of a mixed result so far, a win and a last place.
Yeah, last one was pretty shite. Yeah, what can I say? We need to change a little bit on the bike. It was a little bit too weak in the last one, so hopefully we'll sort it out now.
Obviously, the result didn't go that way then. How are you liking the event? The weather's great.
Yeah, it was good, brilliant. Yeah, if we make loads of points, I'll be happy. But if not, then I don't care about the weather.
Well, at least you got a lot of races to go, though.
Yeah, still long evening left. So hopefully we'll sort it out. We'll get some more points.
Well done, Niels Christian Iversen. Your thoughts on him, Jason? A real late bloomer, can I use that expression? He had a wonderful campaign in 2013. He's very clearly one of the big boys now.
Yeah, definitely. He came from a couple of years away from the Grand Prix and a couple of years where he established himself as a #1 rider in the British League and the Polish League and the Swedish League. I think he won the Danish Championship and took that away from Nicky Pedersen, and certainly lifted himself in the Grand Prix as well, and he finally got his breakthrough win. And I think from that point on, he seemed to grow in stature and grow in confidence. And I'm not going to be surprised if he's one of the guys that's pushing for a top 3 spot again this year.
1-2 GPs last year, Terenzano and Stockholm, and tonight represents his 39th Grand Prix start, and 31 years of age. And there's no doubt very professional, presents himself superbly, great ambassador for the sport, highly articulate.
Yeah, typical Danish speedway rider, they talk very well over there. Erik Gundersen, the former 3-time world champion from Denmark, is really involved with the young guys over there through the Danish Federation, the DMU, and Erik and Hans Nielsen at that time were the leading riders in speedway, and they've taken the professionalism and embedded that into all young Danish speedway riders. And when you see guys like Niels and Kenneth Mier and a few others, it's really great to see.
Well, the smiling assassin Martin Smolinski, he'll be back in to the action in heat number 9.
And it's going to be interesting to see what he does, because he's had the inside gates and he's been able to get down to that line he wants to use, which is a curb crawling maneuver. He's got the outside here, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does from position 4, whether his plan is to make the start and get down there, or whether he could cut back and come through on the inside from behind.
Ty Wolfenden will also line up from gate 2 in heat number 9. And at a press conference yesterday morning, Ty declaring his goal in Speedway is to eclipse the great Tony Rickardson and his 6 world titles. That is some statement, but nothing wrong with aiming for the stars.
No, absolutely not. You've got to have your ambitions and desires. Quite bold to come out and say it nonetheless, but he certainly let us all know where he stood and where he thought his future was.
You had the opportunity yesterday morning to do something different and sit down with 4 world champions, all locked up for television. It'll be shown around the world at a later date. And you interviewed Greg Hancock and Ty Wolfenden and Chris Holder and Nicky Pedersen. It was one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen, the insight that you were providing. But that's a story for another time. So heat number 9 here at Western Springs Stadium.
Ty Wolfenden's just made a practice start, and I'm going to say that he's changed bikes because he's got the mechanics out making some last-minute adjustments, and that bike looks pretty clean to me.
Yeah, good point. So at this stage of the meeting, they'll be playing with wheelbase.
They're just trying to find the track at the moment. I think the guys that are winning races, it's always easy when you're winning. When you're not winning races, you're chasing. And Ty's made a bold move here to change bikes pretty quickly in the meeting.
Matej Zagar returns for action here. He's on 3 points, a good start to the event. So here are the starters. Zagar to Huma of the Lunin. 3 points thus far. Redgate 1, Ty Wolfenden struggling with just the 1 point at this stage of the event. Bunyan has scored 2, and Smolinski on 5 points, the German. And a tremendous start to the event by him. Great atmosphere in the stadium. You'd rather be nowhere else. The fans are really enjoying this. Hope you are around the world, wherever you may be watching. Ty Wolfenden, tough as teak, coming into this event, nursing several injuries, but still happy, still smiling, riding his skateboard around the pits earlier today. Appeared on every talk show in England just about during the off-season. He's been a very busy world champion. So Zagar, extreme right-hand side of screen. Wolfenden in the blue helmet, Bunyan the Kiwi in white, and Smolinski on the outside. Can he do it again? The German. The tape's flying, not a bad start. Zagar, Wolfenden much better this time. The world champion goes to the front, but Smolinski, the German, on the outside. He's having some meeting.
He's changed his lineup. He's working inside and outside, but here comes Ty. Ty's not going to take this line down. He's going to chase him here.
Smolinski now under siege from the champ. Wolfenden on the inside. Zagar not far away either in the red helmet colour. In fact, Zagar now challenges Ty Wolfenden. A cracking heat here in heat number 9, the German. And he leads by a couple of bike lids. They're testing different racing lines all over the circuit. Down the back straight they charge.
Wolfenden's come back up the inside of Zagar. Smolinski's out in front. I mean, he's changed his lineup. He's gone from curve crawling to out here on the outside on the first lap, and he's pulling away. He's moved out again now. His bike is working, and he's riding it exceptionally well.
Smolinski the leader. Wolfenden in second, the world champion. The checkered flag prepares to unfold. Zagar in third. Across the line, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't believe it. Smolinski firing a warning shot to his rivals in 2014.
He's on fire, David. He's doing everything. He made a great start there, and as with the other races, he went straight for the inside. That time he's gone straight for the dirt, and he's pulled around everybody.
Martin Smolinski emerging as a star in his own right in Auckland, New Zealand. 3 points to him. He moves on to 8 for the meeting so far. Wolfenden, a big improvement there, 2 points. So, as you look at the points, after heat 9, commencement of the third round of qualifying heat, Smolinski, Pedersen, Kasperzak, Zagar, and then 3 riders equal on 4 points. Absolutely amazing stuff from the German.
It is. It's like you said, it's a surprise, and we're going to hear it again. We're going to see his joy here. But he's fast. He's really, really fast today, and he's doing it right. He's doing everything right. He's off gate 4 there. He didn't really try and come down to the inside. He's used a wider line. He's gone pretty much straight off gate 4 and gone into the first turn deep. In that position, you're thinking he's in a bit of trouble. Zagar picked up, and he's had to overcorrect that. But look at Smolinski, right foot off the peg, sitting back on the seat. He's got full traction. You wouldn't have thought he was going to go around Ty from the way it's worked in previous heats.
Jason, in the corresponding Grand Prix last season, as you look at the head-on replay, the yellow starting gate only won 2 races of 23. Red dominating with 15. Very different scenario in season 2014.
Absolutely, and again, we have to go to Ollie Olsen and his trackmen. They've done a tremendous job with the starting positions, and it's all looking pretty even. At the end of the day, right now, the fast guys are winning the races.
No question. The world champ, Ty Wolfenden, you just saw, walking through the pits. And next race is, of course, heat number 10. And Frederick Lindgren, a stunning ride in his previous race when he took it right up to the leader. 3 points thus far, red helmet colour, gate 1. Troy Batchelor also 3 points, the Aussie. Blue gate 2. Andreas Jonsson 2 points in white from 3, the Swede. And Darcy Ward, who'll be looking forward to this yellow helmet colour start. Gate 4 on the outside, and Darcy has 4 points.
Yeah, he's got to do something similar to what Smolinski just did there. I'm hoping he watched that.
Yeah, let's fans watch that with interest here. Another cracking heat. World Championship Speedway. Lindgren, closest to camera. Lansler, Johnson and Ward. Will the Queenslander get the job done? On the outside of the yellow helmet colour, pretty tidy start by Lindgren. Darcy away and down and into the air fence. The Aussie, dusted, busted and disgusted. On the first turn. He appears to be okay. Perhaps winded and very disappointed.
Yeah, he was going for the outside, that's for sure. Possibly what he didn't anticipate was that Batchelor from gate 2 was also going to try and get there.
Receiving a rousing reception.
He's made a good start there from gate 4, Darcy. He's got it in front of Andreas off 3, but he's just lifting a bit much. He's trying to come across and get his run. And Batch has just decided he's going to go for the run because Lindgren's moved out pretty wide as well.
What will the referee do?
He's got no choice. It's all four back. That's just classic first bend bunching. Just gets too tight. Something's got to give.
Referee for the opening Grand Prix of the season, as you look at Darcy sliding into the air fence, is of course Jim Lawrence from Great Britain.
Yeah, Jim's a very good referee. Darcy hit that air fence pretty hard there.
The air fence, the greatest single innovation in Speedway?
Oh, one of, absolutely. Yeah, that's just a tight turn. Frederick's gone from gate 1. He's obviously in the lead and he's moved up. He wanted to be on the dirt. Batch has gone with him and yeah, Darcy tried to go but nowhere left.
And all four back in is the ruling from the referee. That is now official word from the tower. There's Darcy.
Darcy's down on the track with Tony Briggs. Tony's the son of 4 times world champion Barry, a local boy from New Zealand.
Yes, I mentioned earlier in our coverage, New Zealand, such a dominant nation in World Speedway during the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, even earlier than that, I think, David. I think Ronnie Moore and Barry himself were world champion maybe in the late 50s, and obviously Ivan himself went on to dominate the sport. I don't think there'll be too many problems with Darcy's bike there. The mechanics just starting it up and trying to clear the dirt and stones out of the chains and everything, and hopefully from that small slide off it won't be damaged or bent at all. But
Darcy, a rousing reception. Wonderful crowd here. It is a sparkling night.
He is one of the most popular riders on the circuit, and you know, his racing has endeared him to the fans, I guess. His never say die attitude.
Yeah, people just love to see the way that he rides.
And this is what I like to see. Chris Holder's mechanics there are helping Darcy's boys out to make sure that everything's done in time. Darcy's not even been back to the pits. He's having a go at gate 4. He's trying to make his spot.
Got a lot of confidence in his team. We saw in his pit area then Shane Parker, of course a rider that was based in England for, I guess, 2 decades, perhaps even a little longer, helping out tonight.
Yeah, well, Shane's actually here with Chris Holder, but there we go. I mean, there's Shane. He's in Chris Holder's camp, but these boys are in their teammates with Team 4 Brent.
I saw him tonight ahead of the meeting. I said, what are you doing tonight, Shane? He said, whatever they want me to.
Yeah, he loves it. Shane loves it. And if he had the opportunity to be riding out there, he would be.
Still riding at the occasional meeting in Australia and conducting coaching academies as well, as are you. So Darcy heads back to the pits for a quick conference. We should have this race back underway shortly.
Something like that's not going to bother Darcy too much. He'll go out and ride harder into the first turn this time.
It was actually very intelligent of him to stay out there and gather his thoughts and kick a bit of dirt on the start line and prepare himself mentally to go.
Yeah, he's got to run through his checklist and do all of the things he needs to do to get himself ready for the race. And he's looking pretty focused now. Hopefully he's had a couple of rides and he gets the butterflies out and he'll be ready to go. He's just stood there saying, where's my bike? I'm ready to go, boys. Bring it out.
Yeah, Speedway regulations, of course, state there is a 2-minute period, and we're waiting actually for that to go, and it will any tick of the clock, if I can use that expression.
Yeah, the mechanics are just checking everything over, making sure there's no dirt, no grit on the handlebars or the clutch lever, just making sure everything's okay.
Darcy Ward, born in a suburb of Kimera in Queensland. He's only 21 years of age, has already won 2 World Under-21 Championships.
That's actually how he came up with his number, David. 4300's a postcode of his home area, so Darcy decided he'd take number 43.
Tonight, his 12th career Grand Prix start. Of course, Rubber has had a win at this level of the sport. Missed a number of events last year as a result of injury.
And actually said he learned a lot from that injury, and I have to agree with him. I think everybody saw that the Darcy Ward that came back after the injury in Gothenburg was a different character, much more mature and much more focused on his racing. And, you know, obviously, World Championship level, the focus is key. And Darcy, I think, recognised in his racing that he needed to step it up a bit, and it's great to see when young guys do that. Obviously, Ty Woofenden set the bar last year by doing what he did, and all these other guys have followed him.
Jason, the emotional commitment, just as challenging as the physical commitment. You finished in the top 3 in the world 10 years in a row, which your colleagues, the likes of Greg Hancock, can't believe.
Yeah, and obviously that's one of the stats that I'm very proud of as well. And it's a tough thing to do. You know, it's not easy to be in the top 3 for 1 or 2 years in a row. So I was very, very proud. Again, we see Chris Holder's mechanics bringing Darcy's spare bike out for him. I think he was going to change bikes, and he's jumped back onto the bike. He's crashed. So I hope there wasn't anything too wrong with that.
That's what's happened. You can see it spent some time in the soil. So the bike's back on the circuit. Congratulations to all Nelson and all his track staff. Heat number 10. And the restart. Lindgren, 3 points thus far. Redgate 1, Bachelor, 3 points the Aussie. Bluegate 2, Andreas Johnson, the Swede, just 2 points in the event so far. And Darcy Ward, the other Aussie in this race, Yellowgate 4.
Yeah, Darcy needs to make a better start this time, but I think Freddie showed what he wants to do on the first turn, so the other guys have to be aware of that now. Darcy needs to think about that because Frederick showed he wants to get high. You know, he wants to get out onto the dirt, so the other boys need to take note of that and remember that there's probably not going to be any room if Freddie makes a start from gate 1.
Lindgren, he's been plodding away his Grand Prix World Championship Series for a number of seasons now. He's been successful at this level. You look at him closest to camera. Bachelor. His dream shot in the big time. Blue helmet car, gate 2, could Ward dust himself off and produce some speedway magic here. Johnson out of gate 3, tapes in the air, Lindgren away well on the inside, Darcy not too shabby from, oh no, not again! This time he's face first into the air fence. That'll be all 4 back in again as long as he's okay. That was just first corner bunching.
He's gone in hard there. He's gone in legs first. That's a bigger hit than the first time for sure. Hopefully he's going to get up now.
He lays on the track, undoubtedly winded. He looks all right. This is extraordinary.
Yeah, but to take 2 falls in the space of 4 or 5 minutes, it's tough. Freddie's done it again. He's made a good start. Darcy's there with him. Darcy's got across Bachelor there, but Freddie's gone up. That's what we knew he was going to do. I think Darcy could be in a bit of trouble here because there was only the slightest tap there. It looked like he almost overslid by himself.
Spectacular off for the Australian Bachelor, competitive out of the gate. Then he shut off. He was the meat in the sandwich, if you like.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of room left there for back, and he knew it was better to get off the throttle. But I'm not surprised at that. there was a little tap there, and I thought Darcy overslid himself there, so I'm not surprised at that decision at all by the referee, Jim Lawrence.
So Darcy Ward excluded from the rerun. And that is a devastating blow for his New Zealand Speedway Grand Prix aspirations.
It is. He needs to sit down now for sure and have a couple of deep breaths and think about what he's doing. But it was tight. It was a tight turn. But the incident there, we knew where Freddie was going to go. He showed us the first time, and he's kept going up. There's a slight tap, but nothing major, just there. And then Darcy did overslide. He's going to be disappointed, and of course, when you're in that position, you always want the restart. Very, very tight there between Darcy and Batch.
Gee, the decision could have gone either way. I mean, it was a very... I said at the time I thought it would be all four back in, and I've actually seen nothing to change my mind.
Well, yeah, but just there's a slight touch, and that's not immediately when Darcy went down. I mean, you're right, it could have been all four. He was lucky that the bike didn't clobber him any harder. But he did go in pretty hard.
It was a nasty off. And once again, a great example of what the air fence brings to the sport of speedway.
Oh, absolutely. I've been lucky in my career that the air fence was brought in. I think every speedway rider around the whole world is grateful that the air fences are around.
So Jason Crunt, we're obviously at heat 10 here. What will they be doing with the bikes in terms of things like carburettor jetting as day gives way tonight? We're now racing under floodlights here in Auckland.
Yeah, it's all changed pretty quickly. Most of the guys will have their weather stations down there, and they'll be taking readings of what's going on, and they'll be adjusting carburation and so forth as required by the readings they're getting from their machines.
So Darcy, less than happy. It's been a tough start to his 2014 campaign. Of course, he and Chris Holder combined just last weekend in Poland to win the Best Pairs Cup, or the first leg of it anyway. So they come into this event not having done that many meetings, but nonetheless in very good form.
Yeah, Darcy's been riding really well, and I mean, obviously Chris was as well on that night, and a great result for Australia to win that. But as we always say, David, that was last week, this is this week, and this is tonight. And the boys want their best form here with them tonight, that's for sure.
Temperature in Auckland still 19 degrees, southwesterly breeze at 30 kilometres an hour. Conditions are very pleasant. And I've got the feeling we're building to something special here in New Zealand tonight.
I agree. I think as the floodlights come on and the sun sets, the moisture is going to stay in the track. The track's going to get wider. There'll be more dirt up there. I did just notice in shot there, Darcy's boys look like they're changing something on the front end, whether it's a front wheel or a set of handlebars or something. The bike obviously is a bit battered. It's not very often you see shots like that in Nicky Pedersen. He's looking pretty calm and happy and relaxed.
What are you trying to say, Jason?
No, nothing. I'd never take anything away from Nicky. I mean, he's, we know his reputation. We know what people have said about him. He is a hard rider. He is one of the toughest people you're going to race against. And his approach to racing has not normally been to sit in the pits and smile. He's normally a bit more wound up and a bit more focused. So maybe this is something that Nicky's been working on.
He's got some warm-up routine, which I observed yesterday. The amount of stretching he does, he could have been an Olympic-class gymnast.
I think we all do that, I think it just depends on where you go. But Nicky's obviously, he's not 25 anymore, as we all know. And as you get older, you need to take more care and prepare better and everything. And I think Nicky has stepped it up. Again, Ty Wolfenden made it very public last year what he did. And I think every rider who's serious about the World Championship took a leaf from his book.
So, heat 10 and second rerun of this event. And now there are 3. So, Lindgren has been tremendous from the inside.
This is a really tough situation for all these riders because their bikes have just done 2 starts, and it's hard on everybody's touch, and not just a guy who falls off.
So Lindgren down on the inside. Race restart here in heat 10. Ward excluded, so no one in the inside alley. Lindgren, red. Sweden, Troy Batchelor. Australia in blue. And Andreas Jonsson, Sweden, in white from gate number 3. It'll still be a fascinating battle over 4 laps. Batchelor, on the 2 previous occasions, has started okay. A win here would do his confidence the world of good.
Yeah, it'd be great to see that.
At this level. That is Troy Batchelor, won the Australian Championship in 2013. And Chris Holder grabbed it back again during the early stages of this year. What will it be? Can we get this 4-lap race completed? Underway, Lindgren again smartly away. Batchelor likewise has a chance through 1 and 2. Lindgren had a moment. We can also see Andreas Jonsson comes up on the inside. The Swede goes Wooshka. He almost gave his compatriot pneumonia with the breezy went by him that quickly.
What a first turn. Andreas cut straight back and used the Smolinski line, but Lindgren was on that and he caught that rut. He just caught it wrong and went right past the corner, but Batch and Lindgren are racing at it now.
So Andreas Jonsson, the leader. Then Lindgren, Batchelor having a big go on the inside. He looms closer to Freddie. They swing through turns 1 and 2, and Batchelor is down. We stay with it. He's trying to get back to his bike. He's injured his leg, and we have red lights on at Western Springs Stadium. There was some battle developing in the meantime between the Swedes, but Batchelor is in a world of hurt, Jason Crump.
He sure is. He was having a decent go up the inside, but he's just caught that rut. And he did the smart thing there and got the bike down because he didn't want to run into the back of Lindgren. Here we go. You can see him. He's on the inside. He's got a good run going. He's hit it there. And he lost his right foot off the footrest as well. So that's almost immediate loss of control in that position.
You can see his left leg, the way he landed and subsequently slid. It was not nice to look at. I can't control that.
I'm not even going to be surprised if hitting that rut there kicked one of his chains off. That's a big rut to hit just there, and he did a great job to get the bike down without running into the back of Freddie Lindgren, which would have been much, much worse.
As we saw, he tried to get up.
I think he's taken a blow where no man wants to take one.
Very eloquently put, Jason Crump.
Unfortunately for Troy, he's definitely going to be excluded from that restart.
And returning to the pits with a squeaky voice.
And again, we've got another restart. This is a 4th restart, a 3rd or 4th restart.
This. We began with 4, and now there are 2, and they're both from Sweden. Batchelor excluded this time.
Yeah, that was a pretty easy decision for Jim to make there. He has taken a hard hit there, Troy, unfortunately for him. He was having a great go up the inside, and that rut there, it's almost impossible to see from where we're situated, but it's caught him out big time.
It's just one of those things in Speedway.
It is, and as we said earlier in the night, Martin Smolinski was using that to his advantage. I can only say Troy mustn't have been expecting that, or he mustn't have been expecting the kick he's got. But nonetheless, it's thrown him off.
Okay, so as you look in the pits, it's been a race of attrition.
And Batchelor's bike there is looking in a bit of a sorry sort of state, I would say, looking at that picture there that we just saw, that frame's bent. Chains look to be definitely the rear chains on, so maybe he didn't lose a chain.
Crowd intrigued by what they're seeing here at the moment.
This is one of the best race meetings we've had for ages. The track is just open to every sort of line. The inside's working for some guys, the outside's working for others. You can't pick who's going to make the start from any position.
I think we came here all expecting Gate 1 to be more than likely dominant again, and it's not been the case, and that's great.
It is. It's fantastic. And, you know, as a rider, when you've got to go out of every gate, some more than once, you always want the starts to be pretty even, and tonight they are.
Can I ask a question, Jason? As a former world champion and top rider, how hard is it coming into the opening round of the World Championship so early in the season to get yourself up mentally? Because there's a couple of guys in this field that have ridden in one event coming into this tonight.
I don't think any rider would have a problem to get themselves up to this. I mean, we're talking about the World Championship here. You know, all of these riders, with the exception of Troy Batchelor, who got late call up into the series due to Emil Saifedinov's injuries and not being able to compete, has had since, you know, basically October 2013 to be prepared. And, you know, you can't tell me that somebody like Nicky Pedersen wasn't making plans in November for this event in April.
According to our stats, there are 2 riders coming into this New Zealand Grand Prix that have only ridden in one meeting prior. Guess who one of them is?
Martin Smolinski.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He obviously goes well fresh.
Yeah, but, you know, you can see he's come here with an open mind, and Martin's, you know, I have to be honest and say I've never seen him ride so well before. So that's a credit to him and his team. Mechanically, he's very, very well set up, and you know, that's a great thing. There's Troy walking back to the pits. He's looking a bit sore, that's for sure, but he's an Aussie, so he's pretty tough, and he'll be back out again.
Another look at that. Batchelor in the blue helmet colour on the inside.
Kick. He just got that kick all wrong. His right foot came off. Whether that was a reason, you know, for the crash or not, I'm not sure, but certainly was a big kick.
You are right about the blow he took to,
but again,
a very sensitive region.
Again, he wasn't far from Lindgren. You know, in that crash, his bike was not far from Freddie. And
brings tears to your eyes.
You can see Troy. I have to congratulate him on that. As a former rider, you always look for your fellow competitors to get off the track if the race was underway.
Bizarre circumstances here with just 2 riders.
We're down to 2.
Yeah, and yet another restart of heat number 10. And so there were 2 Swedes who have scored a combined 5 points in the Grand Prix so far. So Fast Freddy will start closest to the curb on the inside of the track. Jonsson, just a rider that is an enigma in some regards. So respected by so many in the sport. He's second in the world a couple of seasons ago, and so much expected from him, but he hasn't delivered.
No, it's been a bit of a surprise, but would never ever underestimate Andreas in a race. I mean, you can say the same for every rider in this field. They're all there on merit. There's no weak links here.
So, which one of the Swedes will reign supreme in heat number 10?
I think they've both taken it in turns to lead off the first turn.
Exactly. A look in the pits quickly, sees Troy Batchelor. He's okay. Winded, a little sore. Got the blood flowing again. So, Frederick Lindgren, closest to camera. Who will it be? Tapes fly. Lindgren got the front wheel up off the ground, was able to clean it. Now Jonsson goes for the cutback as they exit turn number 2. They are side by side in heat number 10. Lindgren, he gritted his teeth. He grabbed a handful of throttle and said, "Catch me if you can."
He certainly made his intentions clear a couple of times there that he wanted the outside line on the first turn. Just managing to outdrag Andreas down the back straight.
They're separated by 5 bike lengths. The Swedes getting it on at Western Springs Speedway down the main straight again. And Lindgren, he's looked pretty smart here tonight. Under blazing floodlights in Auckland. And he's careering away with this one.
He's got a really smooth line working. He's tight on 1 and 2. And then he's letting the bike run a bit more on 3 and 4. He's trying a bit wider line there now. And the distance he's got, that's a smart move to see what he can get out of his bike up high.
They used very different lines when they went through turns 1 and 2. Here's the checkered flag. In heat number 10, we finally got there. The race race has finally been run, and the spectators are happy about that. Frederick Lindgren, a former Down Under visitor, contested the Australian Championship in 2007. And as you look at our victor in Heat 10, there are two track staff down on turn 1 with a shovel, doing a spot of gardening. You don't see that often in between hits. Lindgren 3 points, Johnson 2 points. Batchelor and Ward coming up with 0. So after 10 heats of this opening Grand Prix of the new season, Smolinski on 8, then Pedersen and Kasperzak, and Lindgren equal on 6. And 4 riders, in fact 5 riders on 4 points. One of them is Andreas Johnsen. Took a while to get it done, but that's been achieved. Heat number 11. What a cracker coming up. Pedersen, Hancock, Bier, Hampel.
This is one of the toughest races of the night coming up. Here we go through the restart. Frederick was actually quite fortunate to make that start. He lifted pretty hard off the blocks. And as we said before, he's gone straight for the dirt. Andreas has cut back up the inside, and from that position you're going to think about to pull in front, but Freddie just had the speed on the outside to carry past Andreas, and once he got in front he was as fast as anybody.
Andreas Johnsen saying in the press during the lead-up that he's sick of being compared to Tony Rickardsson. He said in the press, I'm not, and I don't want to be in the shadow anymore, I just want to do my own thing. There's the starters in Heat 11. This is a race befitting of a World Championship final. Pedersen red, 6 points thus far, the Dane. Greg Hancock, so much to do, the American in blue. Kenneth Bier, the Dane in white from gate 3, 4 points. And Yarrick Hampel, you've got to say the fact he comes into this race having only scored 2 points is also a massive surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. If Greg's got any aspirations at all for a semi-final start, he needs points in this race, and I would think more than one.
There's former Italian great Armando Castagna looking on in the pits. These days plays a pivotal role in the FIM.
He sure does. It's going to take an exceptional start from one of these other 3 riders to get there before Nicky Pedersen from gate 1.
Ken, Greg, Herbie Hancock bounce back as you look at the world champion watching on a rather pensive looking Ty Wolfenden. Nicky Pedersen, right hand side of screen, now closest to camera. Underway in heat race number 11. This will be a beauty. Pedersen muscles his way to the race lead. Hancock goes out wide. Bursting through the yellow is Yarrick Hampel. This is better from the pole. He's in pursuit of the day. Nicky Pedersen onto the main straightaway. And at the end of lap number 1, Pedersen, the Dane leads.
Yarrick's gone in wide. He's cutting back up the inside of Nicky. He's got some speed, not quite enough. Tough first turn for Greg.
Kenneth Bier is third, and Greg Hancock is having a nightmare in Auckland. A race he's done so well at in the past.
Here comes Bier's up the inside of Hampel. Yarrick went too wide, lost his run, and Bier's fast. He's got a great run coming up the inside. He's going to have a go at Nicky here.
Yeah, Bier up to second. So
he's pulled Nicky in. He's on him.
Yeah, great race in the making here. Lots of slap out. Bier having a massive go. Pedersen the leader. Bier, he's coming to get him. What will he do? Will he go for the outside slingshot? Onto the main straight they run. Pedersen looks over his right shoulder. He's got the goodies. He takes it. Bier through everything, including his underwear in it.
Sure did. Kenneth had some big speed going in the last couple of laps of that race, because first he had to get past Hampel. No easy task there. And in half a lap he went from being a bit behind Nicky to right on him, and he put him under some serious pressure. Up the back straight for the last time. I almost thought he was going to have a go up the inside into turn 3, but just thought better of it and settled for his 2 points.
Pedersen 3 points. Bier getting the 2 points there. As you look at the points on screen, so Pedersen, after 3 rides on a maximum 9 points, leads away in advance of Martin Smolinski, and Kasperzak, and Lindgren, and Bier on 6 points. Gee, that was a gutsy performance by the runner-up.
He's looking really fast tonight. He's always been a fast rider. He's a small fella. As I said earlier, Nicky's not going to miss many starts off gate one, and he's outdriven Greg there to the corner, and Nicky's gone high. Greg took a bit of a knock there, but Kenneth and Yarrick have cut straight back. Nicky's just really in control of it there, and Greg didn't get anything on the exit of turn 2 like he probably thought he was going to get.
Jason, what's happening with Greg Hancock? The grin. It's been shut down. He's not smiling at the moment.
I can't tell you. Obviously there he's been run a little bit wide by Nicky, but that's what you have to do, unfortunately. And you know, in this position here, it's just all looking good for Nicky. But as we said, Kenneth Bier certainly showed some speed in the last couple of laps of that race to first get by Jarek Hampel and close the gap right onto Nicky Pedersen.
So 3 starts, 3 wins.
And a smiling Nicky Pedersen.
Oh, he's a happy man.
He's happy.
Looking the goods here tonight. Beautiful evening. Still around 19 degrees in the North Island of New Zealand. Heat number 12. The culmination of the 3rd round of heats. So Kasperzak will ride in the red from gate number 1, 6 points thus far the pole. Chris Harris from England, blue helmet colour, yet to score a point. That is a surprise. Niels Christian Everson, 3 points the Dane, white gate 3. And Chris Holder, 4-point haul after his 2 rides, yellow gate number 4. And I'd be thinking that Chris Holder would be placing a lot of importance on this race in the context of the event.
Absolutely. He's got gate 4 and he's got a couple of guys inside who haven't done what they would have expected. Definitely need some points here, Chris.
There's Holder, the thunder from down under. Waiting for the tapes. Underway in heat number 12. Who will it be? Kasperzak away. Well, Holder is all over him. He switches lines. And also coming up on the inside is Chris Harris. Good race here. Christian Everson. The Dane is out the back in the white helmet colour. Onto the main straight lane at the end of the first lap. And Kasperzak leads Chris Holder.
Kasperzak made an absolutely fantastic start, but Chris is lining him up on the inside, not quite there then. Chris looks like he's got some speed working now.
Holder searching on the inside now. Kasperzak leaves a little room. Holder, he got right on his exhaust pipe.
And Harris is winding it up on the outside. I'm not sure if there's enough there for him, but Chris is right on the back wheel of Kasperzak now.
This is the best race of the night. The 4 of them, you can throw a tally-ho paper over them. They're so tightly packed. Chris Holder, he draws level on the inside. Can the Australian take the lead? This is a tremendous battle. Kasperzak takes it back again as they charge down the back straight. The checkered flag is about to be waved. This has been a gutsy ride. Kasperzak, the run to the checker, he takes it. Holder gave it everything. But Kasperzak too good.
What a race. Absolutely unbelievable.
Best heat of the night.
Chris Holder was all over him, and Kasperzak just moved his line a little bit off turn 2 there and gave himself some more drive and pulled away from Chris, but Chris fought for 4 laps there. And we only talked about first and second. I think Harris and Niels Christian Everson swapped places a couple of times as well during the race.
Great battle. There's battles raging all over the circuit. Kasperzak, Holder, Everson and Harris. So Kasperzak now equal on 9 points, along with Nicky Pedersen, the Dane. He's having some Grand Prix in New Zealand. Smolinski is still there, as you can see. Then 3 riders on 6 and 4 riders on 4 points. Fantastic event. Cannot wait for the remaining races in this event. If that is a sign of what is to come. We're now racing under floodlights. We talked about the fact the moisture now comes up from a metre or 2 down in the surface. And the track is now, if I can use the expression, becoming more hooked up.
It is. It certainly is. the track is absolutely perfect, and the riders are displaying what they can do on a perfect speedway track. Kasperjak made a good start from gate 1 there. The line's changing, as you can see on the first turn. Before, the riders from the inside were trying to hug the curb and get that inside run working. Now they seem to be aiming up a little bit more. Chris Holder cut back. He made a great start from 4. He knew what Kasperjak was doing, and he's cut back to the inside there, but just didn't quite get the drive he required. And Kasperjak's pulled away, but Chris fought. He got really, really close there, and Kasperjak's just got some more drive on the outside. But Chris has got to take a lot of confidence from the couple of races he's had. Looking fast, looking smooth.
And looking determined. Most importantly, the Kasperjak, 29 years of age, tonight competing in his 30th World Speedway Grand Prix
Z nami
Series.
absolutna rewelacja tych zawodów, no i całkiem niezły początek jak na debiutanta, jeśli chodzi o stałe uczestnictwo w cyklu Grand Prix, czyli Martin Smoliński. Martin, what can I say, the best start ever for a debut as a prominent rider in the Grand Prix?
I mean, yes, I mean, not many people really believed in me. I think a lot of people believe in me about the pace what we put on, and my team and I, we've been working very, very hard with my engine, Tornado over the winter, and all my stuff behind me, all my sponsors, you know, and they helped me so much, and even more the pre-work what we've done, you know, it's a different way how we're working, but you could see we got the pace, we made the gates, and we are fast and we are fit for fight, you know.
Martin mówi, niewiele osób we mnie wierzyło, może nie pod kątem moich umiejętności, ale na pewno pod kątem tego, że wchodzę do mocnej stawki, ale pokazaliśmy razem z moim zespołem, z moimi sponsorami, że na pewno ten sposób, troszeczkę inny sposób przygotowań rzeczywiście się sprawdza, no i dajemy radę, zaliczamy dobre starty, no i wygrywamy dzięki temu również biegi, no ale muszę się zapytać o to doświadczenie z długiego toru, bo rzeczywiście ten długi tor w Auckland jest naprawdę długi. And what about your experience from the long track, because this track is more close to the long track, yeah?
It's a bit different because we're not using long track bikes, you know, it's so hard if you really hit the deep dirt, you know, or just even the big bumps, you know. But I mean, the setup what I'm using is like a long track setup, and I mean, my engines what I'm using, I used to those is like some small long track engines, you know, and they're going very good, and just a big thank you very much to my engine tuner, to Mr. Grosebach and to Tornado Racing, that's awesome.
Oczywiście nie zabrakło podziękowań dla tunera, który przygotowywał silniki dla Martina, który stwierdził, że ma przygotowany motor, ten motocykl jak pod długi tor oczywiście jeździ się zupełnie inaczej i ma większe problemy, kiedy wpadnie w dziurę lub troszeczkę się zakopie na zewnętrznej, ale tak, zdecydowanie jest tutaj doskonale przygotowany. So, thank you, Martin.
Thank you very much.
Dziękujemy.
Versus race night are very different things, particularly in terms of the way the track is riding. But Hampel was without a doubt the quickest rider in both Thursday and Friday's practice. He's the defending New Zealand Grand Prix champion and hasn't really fired a shot.
Yeah, but let's look back at last year. I think he was in a similar sort of position to this last year, and he came good at the end of the day. I think he changed bikes and maybe won his last 2 heats, and then a tremendous ride in the semi-final, you know, put him into the final, which he obviously won. But you couldn't have scripted this. I certainly wouldn't have picked the results that we've got so far.
Great crowd enjoying the Grand Prix of New Zealand. Let's head downstairs. Mark Gottlieb is with Nicky Pedersen, who is grinning.
Nicky Pedersen, fantastic start to the night. 3 wins, 3 races.
Yes, it's going pretty all right, you know. It's tested a few engines for the big tracks in Poland before we went down here, and we've been happy so far, and gatings have been quite okay so far as well. I made 3 good ones, so fingers crossed.
Kenneth gave it everything in that last race, tried to take you on the outside, but you held him off.
We need to make a little modification now. We did have the race before, but I felt it was dying a bit too much, so we went back to basics as heat 1, but we need to do something because I was running out of speed at the end of the straight, but I managed to keep him behind me.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mark Gottlieb being joined rather by 3 times world champion Denmark's Nicky Pedersen. Whilst that's been happening, a bit of repair work to the circuit down low on the track on the entry to turn 1, where obviously there was some concern about a rut. And without any further ado, we'll head straight back to Mark Gottlieb, who's with the world champion Ty Wolfenden.
Ty, obviously a slow start tonight. How's the body feeling?
Yeah, not too bad, man. No excuses. I'm just not up to speed at the moment. Boys are working hard, just trying different setups, just struggling with speed off the corners. So, yeah, we'll keep working.
two races left, but at least it's got the inside and outside gate. Most of the wins have come from them tonight.
Yeah, I've got to make some good starts and bang in another 6 points. So two wins, and that should get me into the semi. So we'll see how we go.
Obviously, it's a long season, but every point counts.
Yeah, definitely. Points make prizes at the end of the year, but like I said, it's a long season. And if you look in the past, you know, a lot of riders that didn't do so well here still went on and rode the rest of the season good. So it's just first Grand Prix. There's plenty more left.
He's a very tough boy, Ty Wolfenden. His injuries in England recently, heading into tonight's Grand Prix, have been well documented, and he doesn't want to have a bar of any excuses. I asked him yesterday, how are you feeling? He said, mate, I'm fine. I'm just going to go out there and do what I got to do.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, he'll always play it down, especially to the media, but there's no doubt he's hurting a little bit, and as much as he says there's more Grand Prix to go, there's nothing more than Ty would have liked to come here and walk away with 15 to 18 points. So definitely didn't come here to get, you know, to be in the position he's in, that's for sure. But as you said, he's tough. He's got some more heats to come, and, you know, let's see what he can do.
Close to a full house in the stadium here tonight at Western Springs. Darcy Ward would be gutted at this stage of the event. Here he is with Mark.
Darcy, those were two very heavy hits. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's all right. You know, it's racing, so regroup.
Take me through that first one. You didn't get much room from your own countryman there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, not just Troy. I think Freddie ran him up, but you know, we'd all do the same thing, and we'll try and chase that dirt that's not there. But you know, see how it goes.
Obviously, a big gasp on that second one. Was there a touch from Freddie Lindgren then?
Not sure. I think you know, I got an aggressive bike set up, and the dirt pulled me in, and then there was nothing to stop me. So could have been my fault, but I got excluded.
Well, at least you were getting good starts. Then there's 2 races left, and you can still make the semis.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about you know, regrouping now. Still 2 more races, so 6 points to grab. So you know, I'll go out firing.
Jason Crump, Darcy there telling Mark that he has an aggressive bike setup. For the uninitiated watching, what does he mean?
I would say he's probably talking about he's running a short wheelbase, which is, that equates to getting a bit more traction. And he certainly did get a big pull into the corner, and all of a sudden, you know, the bike did come around quite quickly on him, and very, very honest from him when he was asked if there was a touch from Freddie. There was probably a slight touch, but as we called at the time, probably not enough to actually make him crash. He was possibly on his way down anyway, even if Freddie hadn't have been there. But Darcy certainly does need to regroup, sit down, have a couple of deep breaths, and focus again on what the job is for the night.
Close to a full house here tonight at Western Springs. The third time that the Grand Prix season has begun in this part of the world. Much bigger crowd than last year, I would have thought, which is tremendous to see. And many countries represented among the spectators. You can see Chris Holder there, centre of screen, preparing for battle in heat number 13. He'll wear the red helmet colour. Beautiful, clear evening in the north of New Zealand. You can see a number of the spectators rugged up, a little on the cool side. I did allude to the breeze a little while ago. Good heat here. Chris Holder, Frederick Lindgren, Jaroslav Hampel, and Jason Bunyan. Bunyan's been plodding away, picking up points.
He's done, you know, what you can expect that he would have done. I mean, it's obviously a huge ask for Jason to come and, you know, race at Grand Prix level when he's a Premier League rider in England. So he's can hold his head up high. He's got some points, and you know, he certainly hasn't disgraced himself.
Yeah, Bunyan rides for Rye House in the UK. So Holder, the 26-year-old Australian, in search of his opening victory of the GP Series, comes into this next race having amassed a 6-point tally. It's a very picturesque venue, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great place. It's a nice stadium to ride in. The ambience here is really good, and it is a great venue. It's a great place for Speedway Grand Prix to come.
Hats off to Bill Buckley, chairman of Buckley Systems, promoter of Speedway oval track racing here at Western Springs for making it all possible. So Lindgren, the Swede, first rider onto the track. Hampel, he would be as determined as anybody to get his Grand Prix on track with a win here after frankly a disappointing opening to his 2014 campaign. We know how good he is. He'll ride in the white helmet colour. So Holder has the inside starting gate. Going into battle in 2014 with the number 23. The Grand Prix Championship of the World. Trialling a new number system that we alluded to earlier. Holder backs away and then he'll return to the starting tapes. Ready for action. So Holder will start beside the grass on the inside. 6 points thus far. Lindgren likewise, the Swede. Blue gate 2. Hampel 3 points at the pole. He starts in white from gate 3. And the 7 times and reigning New Zealand Speedway champion Jason Bunyan finished 3rd in his opening 2 rides. Will line up in the yellow helmet colour here from gate number 4. You can see the other riders there. And the team's looking on anxiously. Full credit to the track curators. They have done a magnificent job on this racing surface. Sure, there's a couple of little ruts appearing. That happens nearly everywhere. Looking forward to this one. The previous heat was the best race of the night. Wolfenden and Darcy Ward. That's their vantage point for this race. You look at Hampel in the center of the screen in the white helmet color. It's time for blast off. 4th round of heats. Underway. Holder, will he win the drag race to the first corner? He does. The Australian former world champion takes the lead. Lindgren is out after him. Also competitive is Hampel. Jarek Hampel, the pole, gets up on the inside and relegates Lindgren a spot, but Fast Freddy is coming, surging back on the outside, the Swede. But Chris Holder, he heads for home.
Cracking start from Chris off gate 1. That's got to be the most dominating start of the night so far.
Look at this now, up front, the battle is on. Holder, he's being stalked by Jarek Hampel, who sets his sights on his prey. It's the man in front, Holder and Hampel. They're separated by 1 bike length. The pole looks super quick here in pursuit of the Australian.
Jarek's gone to the outside and he's come back down low now. I think he's got the run on Chris. Chris has just managed to chop his nose off there.
Chris nice and tight.
Lindgren's not out of this. He's back up the inside of Hampel here.
They're coming quickly. So Chris Holder, the 2012 world champion, riding a nice line down low on the circuit, and he takes the winner. The crowd will go up here at Western Springs. Chris Holder, the Aussie, takes the winner. Great battle for the minor placings. Hampel and Lindgren. Liking what I'm seeing from Freddie Lindgren tonight. He's having a red hot go. That was better from Hampel. Well done, Chris Holder.
Chris has got to feel a lot better with that race. Absolutely blinding start. Great first corner.
It was an intelligent ride. He could hear them coming. 3 points to the Australian. 2 points to the pole. 1 point to the Swede. A shake-up of the points sees Holder up towards the top now on 9 points, along with Kasperzak and Pedersen. Smolinski, Lindgren 7, then Bier running top 6 in the New Zealand FIM Speedway Grand Prix. There's thousands of Australians here in the crowd, and they rode that entire 4-lap journey with Chris Holder, the man you were looking at.
Yeah, what a start. Let's watch this again. It didn't look like he got it, but he got so much drive on the way to the first corner, and a clever first corner. He went in tight, let the bike run. From that point on, Lindgren's on the inside. He looked like he had a run. He got pretty close, but Jarek got a really good run up the inside on the back straight. Just managed to get inside Freddie. But from that point there, you can see Chris's bike pulled all the way beautifully, even picked up just at the entry to the turn.
Jason, how physical is a track like this to ride, given the composite of the surface, the speed, the banking?
I think of course, every speedway track's difficult to ride, but this is just a fast track and you've just got to give it everything. And I think that's why we're seeing the guys in the lead aren't being able to get away, because you've got so much room and they're probably not really sure where they need to be going, which is giving the guy in second place, third place, a couple of different options on the racetrack.
Chris not exactly beaming in delight there. We just saw that shot of him in the pits. He was in conference with his crew. I reckon he's searching for more out of those bikes of his. So heat 14, and this time another Aussie starts from the red helmet colour. Or rather from gate 1 in the red helmet colour. It's Ward who has 4 points. Kasperzak 9 points. He's flying in this meeting. Blue gate 2, Pedersen also 9 points. The Dane white gate 3, Smolinski. The German, yellow gate for 8 points. What a race here, Jason.
This is a cracker. We're going to see what Smolinski's going to do on the track this time, whether he's going to go high or tight. Darcy will definitely want a gate like Chris just had from position 1, that's for sure.
Bring it on. This will be a beauty. Ward desperate to redeem himself. The Aussie on the inside. Away, can he get to the first corner? No, he won't. Best to begin was Kasperzak. He's having some meeting. They're coming from everywhere. Nicky Pedersen, the Dane, goes to the lead. In second spot, it's Darcy Ward on the inside in the red helmet colour. Then Kasperzak, and he's under threat from the German Martin Smolinski. What a battle here.
Nicky's ridden a very, very clever turn there. Kasperzak just went too wide. Not enough drive out there just yet, but he's got up the inside of Darcy. He's made a long straight and got up the inside. Darcy's trying to fight back on the outside. I don't think there's enough there.
So Kasperzak up to second, aggressive right. Gee, Nicky Pedersen looks good. Look at Darcy. He's coming to get him. Not going to give this one up without a fight as they sweep through the top turns again. Yellow flag will be shown this time. 1 lap to go here in heat race number 14 of the New Zealand Grand Prix. Pedersen, the triple world champion, leads. In second place is Kasperzak. You can see Darcy Ward there on screen giving it everything, but the check. Oh, no, 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 no. Massive crash at the back. Down they go, Darcy Ward. And he hasn't moved. Smolinski is up, the German. And he's going over to see if Darcy is okay.
Smolinski's just caught that rut on the inside there and collected Darcy. He's still down.
Very nasty accident.
That's at a fast part of the track as well. Smolinski's up, he's okay. He probably can't believe what's happened. He's caught that rut and just T-boned Darcy there by the look of that.
Yeah, no, that's the way I saw it too. We were watching the two up front charge the checkered flag, and out of the corner of my eye I saw Smolinski drill Darcy Ward. And he will obviously be excluded after what has been a tremendous event. You can see Chris Holder now going onto the track to check on the welfare of his compatriot, Darcy Ward. So the race has been declared, and Nicky Pedersen has got the win in heat race number 14. Undefeated after 4 rides in the New Zealand Grand Prix of 2014. Medical crew making their way out onto the circuit as you look at Kasperzak, who is having a tremendous meeting. He's on 11 points by virtue of his finishing order in that particular race. Results: Pedersen 3 points, Kasperzak 2. Darcy Ward has received the 1 point. Despite not finishing, he was taken out. Ambulance on the circuit now. And poor Darcy was drilled by the German. There it is, Pedersen 12, Kasperzak 11, Holden 9, Smolinski on 8. Then Lindgren and Bier, the top 6. Ward, Hampel, Zagar, Jonsson, Everson, Wolfenden. There's Nicky. He's got to be a happy chappy.
Nicky's looking fast. I mean, Kasprzak certainly made the start there, but he just went too wide. Darcy and Kasprzak then engaged in a pretty good battle. But to me, Darcy doesn't look that fast tonight. I don't think he's probably as fast as he would like to be. He's not really, it's not really working for him. And obviously with the incident there.
Ty Wolfenden walking towards the start line, has a Gate 1 starting posse for the next heat. So there is an ambulance on the circuit attending to Darcy Ward. You can see at the top of screen there. It was a big one. We sincerely hope that the Australian former 2 times World Under-21 champion emerges okay from this. A lot of concern over him.
Yeah, you can see the concern on the other riders' faces. Nobody likes to see that. Matty Zagar there looking on. Chris Holder, I think, still out on the track with Darcy. Ty's walked back.
Kenneth Bier. He's limping a fair bit too, but it's a pity in many ways, but Smolinski was having a cracking meeting and a disappointing outcome for him there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's been using that inside. He went to the outside and then he came back in that race. And as we said before, there were a few ruts starting to form on the inside of the track. And I guess, unfortunately for him, he's just caught one. And Darcy's taken the brunt of that blow, that's for sure. And let's just hope he's okay. His bike's in a sorry sort of state, but let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the man.
Exactly. So whilst that is happening, the crowd maintaining their enthusiasm. Now, Nicky Pedersen is not only fast, he's looking extremely smooth tonight. He's just the consummate professional who's getting the job done.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's not a surprise. You know, Nicky, anything he does can never surprise you. And he's looking fast. He's underestimated himself a little bit, I think. I mean, he said his gating was working great, but he had a tremendous race with Chris Holder first time out and passed Chris from the back. And then in that race, he fought his way past Kasprzak on the first turn. So,
of course, Nicky, whom we just saw win that race, a race punctuated by a serious incident involving Smolinski and Darcy Ward. He enjoys a Grand Prix average of 11.85. He's amassed 1,576 points heading into tonight's FIM New Zealand Speedway Grand Prix. Ridden in 133 GPs for 13 wins, 14 seconds and 14 thirds. Frederick Lindgren in the pits meanwhile prepares for his next ride. And Chris Holder walking back, having checked out Darcy Ward with Shane Parker. So we'll bring you the news on Darcy as soon as we can do so.
Christoph Kasprzak there in the pits making some adjustments to his bike. I don't think he's really got anything to worry about. He still looked fast in that race, although he was behind Nicky. I think it was more track position and the line he chose on the first turn that cost him there. But he certainly came back with some speed and did manage to get past Darcy. So Nicky Pedersen on top of the leaderboard. Kasprzak in second position with 11 points. It's been a great Grand Prix for Christoph.
I know people around the world will be wondering about the condition of Darcy Ward. We're waiting on word so we can bring you up to date.
Plenty of Aussie fans in the crowd tonight.
Okay. So the word is that Darcy was unconscious for a short time. He's regained consciousness, and as a precaution, they've put him in a neck brace, and he's being taken out of the pits in the back of the ambulance for further examination. Have a look at this. Smolinski on the inside. Oh. Bang.
Oh. There's nothing. Oh, nasty. You don't want to see that in racing. Smolinski's gone in there with no intent on doing that. He's just tried to use that inside line again, and he's just straightened up. if there was no one there, he's okay. He'd just lock up on the way out. But unfortunately, he's caught Darcy.
Hasn't poor Darcy's head copped a hammering today?
Sickening crash there, and let's hope that everything's okay. He's hit the ground shoulder and head first. Lost his goggles. He's out. Yeah.
Poor Darcy. Third time he's been down for the count today.
That's a big hit from the inside, and you know what we haven't said is the left side of his body there with the bikes coming in at that sort of speed. Let's just hope everything's okay. He's a tough boy, but you know, crashes like that can put anybody down.
Yeah, you hate to see it. And Smolinski would feel terrible.
Oh, no doubt about it. Nobody goes out with any intent at all. Speedway's a small community. You're racing against the same guys week in, week out, day after day sometimes. And
our next event, Jason, has the makings of a great race. Ty Wolfenden, the reigning world champion from England, will line up in the red helmet colour. There it is on screen now for you. 3 points to Ty thus far. Kenneth Bier, a good Grand Prix, 6. Blue Gate 2. His compatriot Niels Christian Iversen, 4 points. White Gate 3. And Troy Batchelor, yellow Gate 4, the Aussie, on 3 points as he approaches his 4th ride of the evening.
Batchelor needs to get some points here. He was down in his last race as well. So the Aussie boys have certainly been taking a pounding tonight.
So start is imminent here in heat number 15. We wish all the best in the world to Darcy Ward, and stay watching. We'll bring you further information as soon as it comes to hand. You can just see Greg Hancock at the bottom of the screen there watching on. He would be wondering what the heck has happened. He won this event 2 years ago and definitely came in as one of the big pre-meeting favourites, but it hasn't worked out that way. So Ty Wolfenden, the injured world champ, closest to camera. Kenneth Bier in the blue helmet colour. 2 Danes, an Aussie and an Englishman. Heat 15 underway. Not a bad start on the inside by Wolfenden. Quickly away also Kenneth Bier. He goes high, wide and handsome on the first turn. Have a look at this. Niels Christian Iversen, the Danes, in 3rd. So once again we see Kenneth Bier having a cracking Grand Prix. He goes to the front in the blue helmet colour. Ty Wolfenden, he looks very aggressive in this one, the world champion. He switches lines and looks for racing room on the inside. And also running strongly is Iversen. In 3rd position, Troy Batchelor, the Aussie. He's in 4th position, doing everything he can.
Great move by Bier on the first turn to get on the outside of Ty. There wasn't a lot of room left there, but he's got some speed going, and I don't think Ty's going to be able to pull him in from this position.
Bier, leader, runs a wide line through turns 3 and 4. That gives Wolfenden a chance. I think Ty's got plenty of self-belief here. They've seen the yellow flag. The Englishman moved a lot closer there. They run down the back straight for the final time. 2 corners to run. Kenneth Bier, he exits turn number 4 and is going to grab 3 points here in heat race number 15. Wolfenden, very competitive. Good signs there for the world champion, Jason.
Yeah. Much better ride from Ty there. He certainly looked like he was on the pace, but again, tremendous corner from Kenneth Bier. Got right up high on the banking, carried the speed around and then let the bike run. Ty was coming back to him, but then Kenneth came back to the inside and managed to pull away a bit again. So great performance so far by Kenneth.
Yeah, sensational performance by Kenneth Bier. Getting the job done and then some. Gee, we saw multiple racing lines in that event. They were all searching for maximum grip. 3 points to Bier. As we look at the restructure of the points following heat race number 15, Pedersen still dominant in the meeting. Kasper Zak, Bier very solid with Chris Holder, Smolinski, Lindgren, Iversen, Wolfenden, Ward and Hampel. Kenneth Bier, he's a jockey-like figure, if I can use that expression, diminutive. But he's got a heart as big as himself.
Yeah, very courageous rider, come back from a few injuries himself in his career. Tight first turn, Ty managed to get the run, but Kenneth just kept going on that dirt. From there, you're going to think Ty's okay, but Kenneth just kept it all wound up. Right leg off the peg, plenty of traction on the back of the seat. Dragged him off down the back straight. Great run by Kenneth.
So looking at that again, have a look at that, the four of them cutting loose.
Nearly four abreast off the first turn there.
Yeah, in pursuit of glory.
Tight racing. Fastest track on the calendar, and they're racing within millimetres of each other.
Without a doubt, the fastest track on the calendar. An excellent point. Now, we talked about it a little earlier. By virtue of being able to get their wheels in line quickly, terminal speed is massive here.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what Kenneth demonstrated there, getting up high on the banking before it drops away. Got it absolutely perfectly right and just sat back on the bike and got a tremendous run down the back straight.
Now heat 16. Can you believe that? Look at that stat, right-hand side of screen. Greg Hancock, no points. Red, the American. Mate Zagar, the Slovenian, 4 points. Blue Gate 2. Chris Harris, no points. The Brit, White Gate 3. Andreas Jonsson, the Swede, 4 points so far in the meeting. So Hancock is racing for pride here.
Yeah,
he's got to arrest this.
Yeah, he's got to. I can't believe he's not going to get a race win, and this is probably a really good chance for him coming off gate 1.
Yeah, he was saying at the top of our show today how important it was to get a good start in the event and the season. It's a nightmare for him. Heat 16 tapes up, the American on the inside. That's better. Hancock goes to the front this time. On the outside, Jonsson. Again, we see a cracking battle. Look at Hancock driving. He and Jonsson are side by side. The Swede goes to the front. Greg Hancock relegated to second. Have a look at this. In third place, it's Mate Zagar, the Slovenian. And running fourth is Chris Harris, who can't take a trick tonight.
Great first turn again by Andreas, and him and Greg are racing. They're going at it. Oh, Harris is down at the back. Nasty off there for Chris.
Yeah, Chris is down on the track still. The lights go red here at Western Springs. How about the intensity of the first lap of this heat and the heat prior? Chris Harris has fallen midway between turns 3 and 4. There he is, the Brit. Of course, he's been successful at this level of competition previously, back in the GP Series in 2014.
Yeah, the only guy that's probably happy with that is Greg. He's going to get another chance at this start from gate 1. Here we see Harris into the third bend. He's gone in deep. Again, the dirt from Zagar's caught him there. The roost, the spray that comes off the rider in front of you at these speeds is unbelievable, and it's enough to unsettle you. And that's clearly what's happened there with Chris Harris. He's just been unsettled at a crucial point of the track on his corner entry.
So the 31-year-old Englishman who's ridden in 68 Grand Prix coming into tonight's event has been excluded. The main thing is that he's okay.
He's not up yet. He went into the fence, I think, with the right side of his body there, so he's seems to be okay. He's moving a little bit. He's just not up on his feet yet.
Finished 5th in the Grand Prix Challenge and replaced Thomas Gollum in the field for this season's World Championship of Speedway that you are watching exclusively live from Western Springs Stadium in Auckland. And he receives applause from the crowd as he is about to undertake the long and lonely walk back to the pits.
Yeah, the best thing about that is to see him back on his feet and getting back to the pits under his own steam. He's there with his team manager, Phil Morris. Unfortunate, he just seemed to lose his balance there. Yeah, he's gone in hard. That's a fast part of the track at the end of the straight. The dirt's just caught him, and he's bailed out because he probably knew what was going to happen a bit further round, but definitely a big hit.
He went down face first, soil sampling.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a bit of a headache, I would think, looking at him now.
Let's head downstairs. Mark Gottlieb is with Chris Holder in the pits.
Chris, obviously another crash today, and Darcy Ward taken off to hospital. It's been a pretty incident-packed night.
Yeah, it has. You know, the first GP's tough. Everyone's pretty nervous and all that kind of thing. And, you know, Darcy was unlucky then. He got cleaned up by the guy behind him, which is the worst feeling. You know, you don't expect it. But I seen him before, and obviously he hit his head pretty hard, so he was a bit dazed. But he was coming around. He said he was not too bad. But, you know, when you take a hit like that, it puts you out for a while.
Obviously, your own form has been sensational. 9 points so far. Semi-finals after this one, so you're really, really looking good.
Yeah, it's going good, but Speedway, you know, you can be quick 1 minute, slow the next. So I'm not, you know, getting too excited about it. It's a good start. I got another heat race yet, so I want to, you know, get a good result here for a good gate pick and go from there. So we'll see.
Gate selection is really difficult because there looks like there's lots of lines out there.
Yeah, the gate's really tough. All gates are quite decent. You know, gate one's pretty good, but then, you know, you're on the inside in the first corner where the dirt line's out wide. So there's a lot of options way up, considering we're only going left in a circle. So it's tough. Cheers.
It's not quite that simple, just going left in a circle. I think he's oversimplifying things.
That's a great comment by Chris Holder. You'd expect nothing less from him. It's true, and what he said is absolutely right. Darcy would have felt like he was tackled by not one of the Burgess boys from South Sydney, but I think all 3 or 4 of them, that's for sure. He wouldn't have known that was coming, and it is a terrible feeling, but let's hope he's okay. And great for Chris to get on there and talk about his buddy and then go back to his own evening. So great words.
Crumpy, you've ridden all over the world. That's been well documented. The atmosphere here tonight rivals some of the great European Grand Prix.
Absolutely, and the reason that is because we've got a racetrack where the guys are going at it. Can you pick a race winner? You know, no. you can't say who's going to win and who's not. You know, and the guy that's in the lead, as I pointed out before, the guy in the lead's got such a big track. He's not quite sure if he needs to, you know, be riding pretty tight or getting right up on the dirt, because the guys in front, if they're getting up on the high line, a fast guy's coming from behind around the inside, and all of a sudden they're having to come back down and you know, block his line a little bit. And if you stay down on the inside for a couple of laps, somebody will get up high and build some speed up and start to put some pressure on you that way. So
I think you're enjoying this commentary caper.
I am. It's a change, obviously, from what I used to do. But watching these guys from up here, you see a lot more than what you do when you're involved in the meeting. That's for sure. And you know, I probably would have paid more attention to the TV monitor during my career if I realised I was going to pick this much up.
Well, that's I was about to ask you. So you've actually learned a lot from playing a different role tonight.
Definitely. As I said, the guy in front's got nowhere to hide. There's so much room around on the track that guys are being able to work it. And because of the surface, because we've got some grip on the track, you know, the short way around the inside's quick, but you can go quick on the outside as well in the dirt.
Expert comments. Jason Crump, 3 times world title holder. Pleased to have him on board. So, Greg Hancock, you know, this is one of the really tough things about Speedway. As we look at the graphic here for Heat 16, he's having a shocking meeting. He's got to pick himself up emotionally and do it again here. He got a good start that time. No points, with it all to do, as I've said, on multiple occasions.
Greg went from gate 1. He tried to go high that time, but probably couldn't get as high as he wanted. Left Andreas a little bit up there to let him get round. I'm not going to be surprised this time if Greg does the exact opposite. Agreed. And stays right down tight on the first turn and lets the other guys sort out where they're going to be.
I was asking him this morning at breakfast what's happening with future American Speedway riders. We saw so many great Americans in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Then the production line appeared to have stopped. And he was explaining to me that Billy Hamill, the former world champion, is doing some tremendous work with academies.
It's great to hear. You know, Billy's got so much to offer Speedway at the grassroots level. But going back to your earlier comment, the American boys in the late 70s had Bruce Penhall, who turned out to be one of the all-time greats of Speedway, to model themselves on.
Yep, very handy riders. Schwartz, Sagalos,
Sean, Kelly Moran,
Ermolenko, Hamill, Hancock. It just was never ending, seemingly.
John Cook.
But there's been a big void for a long time, and according to Hancock, keep your eyes and ears out, because there's some really good American kids coming through. So Gregor's right-hand side of screen,
Zagar the centre. Jonsson the Swede on the outside. Let's go racing in heat 16. Hancock got a flyer from the inside, the American. Let's see what transpires here. Zagar onto the back straight away in second. Third, the Swede, Andreas Jonsson. But Hancock, he's twisting the throttle. And the bike rockets down the main straight. He's a clear-cut leader. He's out to about 6 bike lengths now. This is better, Greg. This is better.
Yeah, great start. He was clear enough in the first turn that he didn't have to worry about where the other riders were going to go. Here comes Andreas up the inside of Zagar.
Yeah, Jonsson gets into second place, but Zagar fights back on the inside.
Great run, and Andreas is back up the inside again. Zagar's gone wide, probably a little bit too wide.
Tremendous battle here for second place. Hancock has checked out. The American says, catch me if you can, fellas. Jonsson in second.
And Zagar's coming back again. They're tight. Zagar's got him. Jonsson's going back again on the inside.
Yellow flag's been shown. What about this battle we're focusing on? Hancock's gone. Zagar in second. Jonsson's all over his exhaust pipe. The run to the checkered flag, and Hancock gets his first points of the New Zealand Grand Prix, and the crowd enjoying that. He's such a popular rider.
Yeah, and Greg's going to be happy with that. He's going to be just, that's it now. He's had a race win. He'll probably go out and win his last race now. He's got gate 1 again in that one, so he'll be happy with that. But a great performance.
He's got the monkey off his back, to use that expression. And he can breathe a little easier now, even though the New Zealand Grand Prix is in tatters for him by virtue of his horror start to the event. 3 points to the American, 2 points to the Slovenian Zagar, 1 point to Jonsson, the Swede. But check out the leaderboard after heat 16. Pedersen on 12, Kacperzak on 11, Bier, Holder, Smolinski and Lindgren in 6. So back into the pits we go. And Greg Hancock, do you reckon he'll have the grin back?
The grin's back. He's pointing to it on the back of his helmet there. Great start. Jumped hard. Bike pulled well to the corner. When I said earlier I thought he would stick right to the inside, he was so far clear on the first turn. He could go where he wanted. He knew he had no riders anywhere near him. He got to the outside, let the bike have its head, and build his speed up immediately. But a great race for second place with Jonsson and Zagar. They must have swapped places 3 or 4 times. You see there Andreas going up the inside, Zagar immediately cutting back and reclaiming the position.
Jason Zagar, a 12-time Slovenian champion, 31 years of age. He's a genuine contender, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 of the guys that I would almost brand the same, and Zagar's one of them. Niels Christian Iversen's another one.
We're going to head downstairs to Mark Gottlieb.
Christoph Kacperzak, you've been battling the flu all night, but you don't look like it. You're just riding so well.
Yeah, everything is working well, and yeah, I'm happy. Maybe last race I make one mistake, first corner, I go so wide and Nicky passed me, but everything is going good. I'm trying something new now in this race. We see what's happened.
Obviously, one eye on the semi-finals. Where are the lines out there?
It's 2 lines fast, inside, outside, and yeah, the more important is the start because it's very good rider today.
What gate would you be looking to pick when the semis come up?
Oh, I don't know. I first concentrate to get the semi. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. Whatever strategy works for you, one race at a time in his case.
Yeah, and what he said's absolutely right. What line's working, the inside and the outside. There's, you know, unless somebody's going to be brave and try a run around the middle, they might get caught out. But at the moment, you can make good speed both inside and outside.
Whatever you do, do not leave your television. This is a fantastic Grand Prix developing in Auckland, New Zealand. As you can see, we're about to
facilitate another interview for Polish television, so Jason and I will just keep talking. Look, Pedersen, there's no doubt, has been the man so far, if I can use that expression, but it's one of those events that any likely scenario can develop in the semi-finals.
No doubt about that at all. I mean, Nicky's been, as you said, he's been the man so far tonight. He's obviously got a spot in the semi-final already, but Krzysztof Kasprzak, he's not far behind him. As he said, he made a little mistake in the race with Nicky and allowed Nicky to get past him on the first turn. Probably wouldn't make the same mistake twice if they're in that situation again. So it's not one-way traffic, and we're just seeing riders. You know, we've had 3 or 4 rides each now. And they're starting to find their feet. They're coming up with maybe a few different sort of setups with the bike than they may be expected to run. You know, guys are now looking for maximum speed. The airs, you know, the airs got thinner. It's a bit later at night, so the bikes are going to be a bit quicker now. And the racing lines, the lines are there. There's not a bad line there, really, apart from riding around the middle. So great racetrack.
You'd have to think all crew chiefs would now be really starting to focus on carburetor jetting now that the air is thinner, looking for maximum horsepower.
Yeah, they're looking for that all the time, you know. They're absolutely looking for that. But Chris Holder, we haven't spoken much about Chris. He's been a little bit behind the 8 ball with you know, as far as his injuries gone. He's probably been able to dodge a lot of the press work, a lot of the press load that's been put on a lot of the riders, you know, higher up than him. Chris is doing things pretty quietly and pretty calmly. He's in there.
I think he'd be pleased with his opening round of the World Championship, to be honest. He scored decent points in every ride. He sits on 9 at the completion of 4 rounds behind Pedersen and Kasprzak. He's equal with Kenneth Bier, and I think he'd be really happy with things. Let's without any further ado, head down and hear from Kenneth Bier. He's with Mark right now.
Kenneth, you missed all of last season, but you couldn't have asked for a better start to this one.
No, so far so good. 9 points from 4 rides. You know, that's okay. I had 1 race, but I got a third. But I'm in the points in every race, and it's 12 meetings in the year, so every point counts. And so far, I'm quite happy.
You got the inside gate in your last heat. What are you going to be looking to get out of that one?
3 points. You know, every race, every point counts, and make the most of it, and see if we win.
There's obviously quite a few lines out there, inside, outside. Which one have you found more comfortable?
All of them. I don't know. It all depends where people is chasing you, and if you're behind, there's different lines. But on the inside, it's cutting up a bit. It's a bit tricky, but it's a good racing track. You know, it's what you say, it's good lines, and you can have good speed there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kenneth Bier there with Mark Gottlieb. He'd be pleased with himself, and as is always the case, a very articulate Dane, very professional. We've alluded to the fact that the inside gate and the outside gate are working, and we've seen a different situation here in 2014 to the previous years where the red gate has been dominant. I've just been looking at some stats, and over the 2 years, or the first 2 years of this GP in Auckland, 46.65% of the races have been won from the red gate. That is a daunting statistic, but this year it's just been smashed.
Well, it's been thrown out the window completely, and that's great to see. Let's talk about Kenneth Bier, because again, like Chris Holder, he snuck along a little bit. Missed out on qualification for 2013 in the Grand Prix due to a broken leg in 2012. At that stage of his career, Kenneth had stayed faithful to Jawa the whole time. He was the last rider in the Grand Prix riding Jawa machinery. Now, if I'm correct in saying what I'm saying, he's changed to GM machinery, which he did last year, and it was prepared by his father, who always prepared his engines. But this year, he's stayed on the GMs, but he's changed and gone to Peter Johns, the tuner for almost half of the field in this World Championship. And with Kenneth's weight, he's one of the smallest riders. He's got no extra weight on him at all. He's always been one of the fastest, and the combination he's riding at the moment seems to be working pretty good for him.
So we've seen a generational change in the sport. There was a time when you had to have a Jawa if you wanted to be competitive, but now it's all about GM, and You alluded to Peter Johns. He's definitely the prevalent engine tuner in the world of speedway at the present time. But that too is cyclical. We've seen over the years, you know, the Klaus Lausches of the world, the Cole Blumfelds, and you know, to name just a couple of them that in their own era have dominated for a period of time.
Definitely, and that's the way it goes. I mean, in engineering, in all forms of motorsport, almost you see different, you know, manufacturers or different car companies or motorcycle companies coming up with something new, and that's no different. And you know, Peter is one of the foremost engine tuners in the world. He has been for a number of years. He had a few slack years, but he's come good just lately. I mean, Chris Holder won the World Championship 2012, Ty Wolfenden 2013, and when you walk through pit lane and you look at all the bikes there lined up, it's a great sight. And you look at the engines, there's a lot of engines marked PJR.
Yeah, just give us, our viewers, an overview tonight. A rider like Pedersen, who's clearly still on top of his game, how many bikes would he go into this season with? How many engines and so forth for his entire Speedway campaign?
Well, like, I can't answer 100% accurately, but he would have in excess of 8 to 10 bikes. And engines, knowing Nicky, I would say he's probably running close to 20. He's with a Swedish engine tuner, excuse me, by the name of Jan Andersson, who was a top international rider himself. I think he does the engines for a few of the guys as well as Nicky. Certainly does Jarek Hampels. So I think Jarek was one of the first guys to go with Jan Andersson. But, you know, their performances have been a bit different. So, you know, you can't always put it down to the engines, David, that's for sure. The guy on the seat with his hands on the handlebar, he's got to get the best out of what the tuner gives him as well.
You cannot underestimate the magnitude, the logistical challenge of being a top international speedway rider, the bikes and componentry we've just alluded to, the amount of racing, the amount of countries on a monthly basis, the air travel. It is just incredible. All the top boys would be employing 4 or 5 people full time.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big business. You know, when you're racing in the leagues, the league scene in Europe, and you throw the Grand Prix in on top of it, you're talking about, you know, 2 or 3 different vehicle setups with, you know, full racing kit in each country almost. And you throw the Grand Prix on top of that, and you know, you obviously want your best equipment at the Grand Prix, and you want to get the best out of everything you can. So huge tasks for all these teams involved in Speedway Grand Prix and league racing across the world.
Thanks for watching wherever you are around the world tonight. Tuned into the Western Springs Stadium, the opening round of the 2014 FIM Speedway Grand Prix World Championship. And this is the commencement of the final round of heats. I cannot believe how quickly tonight's event has surpassed us, but of course we do now approach the business end of proceedings, the pointy end. The final series are imminent. Bunyan, the New Zealander, returns for hostilities in this race. He'll ride in the red helmet colour from gate 1, the Kiwi. Nicky Pedersen, unbeaten thus far. That's him in the blue helmet colour. You can see centre of screen out of gate number 2. Jonsson, the Swede, and Iverson also involved here.
There's plenty of points left.
So, heat 17. Honestly, if this event doesn't turn you on, you haven't got a switch. This is outstanding world-class speedway. So Bunyan, Pedersen, Jonsson and Iverson. 2 Danes, the Swede and the New Zealander. Can Pedersen do it again and go through the qualifying period of the event undefeated? Of course, we've seen the glorious uncertainties of Speedway. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to make the final. It's a tough sport. As the late great Simon Wigg used to say, anything can happen, and it normally does. Bunyan tapes up the New Zealander on the inside, languishing at the start. Pedersen, like a shot out of the gun, goes straight to the race lead. Christian Everson running prominently on the outside, and driving through in the centre is Andreas Jonsson. So Pedersen, Jonsson and Everson, the top three in heat race 17.
Looked like Everson was going to get a run on the outside there, but it just didn't quite work. Nicky is fast now. They've made some changes to that bike, and he's pulling away from these guys, and that's not good news for the guys trying to race against him.
He's fast and he's smooth. The 3 times Danish world champion across the start-finish line again. They're all running about mid-track. That appears to be the fast line at the moment. Now we see here Everson putting the pressure on Andreas Jonsson as they sweep off the top turn and back onto the main straight with 1 lap to run.
Yeah, Neil's got a decent run. It was almost there for him to get up the inside. He's tried it again, but Andreas has covered it.
You're looking at second and third. There's Pedersen, the leader. Hits a run as he comes off turn 4. It only made him go faster. Checkered flag for Nicky Pedersen. 5 rides, 5 wins. You cannot do any more than that.
He's on fire. He absolutely is on fire. His starting's getting better and better with each race. They've worked correctly on the bike. They've made the right changes, and he's looking like a finalist for sure.
He's been wheel perfect. And Pedersen just outstanding in his 5 heat rides. So he charges into the semi-finals as the top man. Pedersen 3 points. 15 for the event thus far. Kasperzak still in second. Pierre Holder. I still fancy Chris Holder tonight, you know.
Yeah.
He's just plodding away and scoring. It'll be interesting to see how that incident involving Darcy Ward affects Smolinski in any way when he returns for his next ride.
I don't think it'll affect him at all. You know, unfortunately, things like that can happen at any time, and just one of those things in racing. Wrong place at the wrong time for Darcy, unfortunately. But there's Nicky Pedersen coming back. He's very, very happy with his performance so far. Great start from Nicky again. Just drove to the first corner. No lifting, which is his trademark. Just driving the bike forward into the corner hard. Everson showed there on the outside. He just went over the banking a little bit. Lost it a little bit there with his feet off the pegs. And Andreas managed to get up the inside of him. He had a go a couple of times, but couldn't get back past Andreas.
So Pedersen charging to his 5th victory of the night.
He looks smooth, David. He's fast, he's smooth, the bike's working good, and at the end of the day, Nicky's riding the thing very, very well as well. And look at him, he's smiling again. You know, he's waving to the camera, thumbs up. That's not the Nicky Pedersen of a few years ago.
I wish you'd stop holding back. Say what you really mean.
No, I'm giving it to him as a compliment. He's relaxed, and it's showing on the bike. He's flowing with the bike.
So a reserve comes into the event here to replace Darcy Ward. It's Andrew Aldridge. So he'll ride in the event. There he is now, riding in the blue helmet colour that Darcy Ward was scheduled to line up in. Greg Hancock returns for battle here. The American, red gate 1, Aldridge, blue gate 2. Chris Holder on 9 points. White gate 3, the Aussie. And 5 points for Ty Wolfenden, the reigning world champion, the Brit. Yellow helmet colour. There is Aldridge, the replacement for Darcy Ward. So what a massive occasion for him coming into the Grand Prix at this stage of the event. Greg Hancock would dearly love another 3-point haul here. But I reckon there are a couple of others out there that are intent on making sure that doesn't happen. So Hancock the inside, you're looking at him. The 43-year-old veteran. There's Wolfie, the world title holder on the outside. And Chris Holder, 3 points here would be very handy. Underway, Hancock got an absolute beauty from the inside starting gate. He checked out of there as they tear down the back straight. Wolfenden straight up into second spot. He's looking pretty good out there at the moment. and Chris Holder back in third.
Yeah, Chris got squeezed up on the first turn there. There wasn't a lot of room. He actually had to go over those ruts, so I think he got off the throttle a little bit there to make sure he wasn't going to have any problems. But Greg Hancock, another great start from gate one, and he's definitely on the pace.
Probably the most dominant start of the night in real terms.
Almost. But I tell you what, these guys are racing for semi-final spots because Greg's not out of this with 2 heat wins, and the scoreboard, the way it's looking, there's a very, very slim chance he can get in with this race win.
He'll be hoping that you are right, Jason Crump. Greg Hancock back to his blistering best in heat number 18. He's showing what could have been in this event, perhaps, but Wolfenden is not giving up the world champion. He pursues the leader down the back straight. The checkered flag will be shown next time round, and the Californian, he heads for home and takes it. Wolfenden wasn't that far away, was he?
No, he wasn't. But unfortunately, what I just said earlier was put out by Ty's second place there. I think that puts him above Greg and takes Greg out of the equation. But Chris Holder's first turn there was a bit awkward for him. I'm not going to be surprised if he's shaking his sore foot up a little bit with that one.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. He'll be very disappointed with the outcome there. So Hancock showing what a champion he is. He's rallied again from adversity. He had no points to show after his opening 3 rides and responds with 2 wins. That's good stuff. So Hancock 3, Wolfenden 2, Holder 1, Aldridge 0.
Exactly right. That's what you expect from a guy with Greg Hancock's experience and commitment. You can never say die because every point in this series goes onto your total at the end of the year, and Greg knows the importance of what 1 point difference here tonight can make in the final calculation at the end of the year.
We just saw the graphic with only 2 heats remaining. Pedersen on 15, Kasperzak 11, Holder 10, Bier 9, Smolinski 8, then 3 riders on 7, Lindgren, Wolfenden, Jonsson.
Yeah, Greg made a perfect start there. That again, that's trademark Greg Hancock. Look at Chris down on the inside. He's straightened up. He's hit those ruts. He did get an awkward ride there for a second or two. From that point on, Greg Hancock's checked out. Great experience for the reserve there off gate 2 to get a start in the Grand Prix in his hometown.
Yeah, look, Ty Wolfenden, he had a slow start of the night too, but he's strung a few good rides together now.
Yeah, and he's
probably warming to the occasion physically as much as anything.
Yeah, he's got to wait and see what happens. He can be overtaken here, but at the moment he's in one of the spots for the top 8 semi-final berth. He's got to wait and see what Zagar and Yarrick can do in their last ride to see what the points throw up.
But yeah, Lindgren, Kasperzak and Zagar all involved in the next heat. This is a race that you highlighted prior to the Grand Prix before we came on air. You did point to this one as being a potential clash of the Titans. Bier, he scored 9. The Dane. Lindgren, the Swede, 7. Kasperzak, the Pole, 11. Zagar, the Slovenian, 6.
Zagar and Lindgren here definitely need points if they're going to try and get into the semi-finals.
Yeah, this is a very important race. Can't believe we're up to heat 19 already. Thoroughly enjoyable event in front of a massive crowd at Western Springs Stadium. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're joining us around the globe. Bier, Lindgren, Kasperzak, Zagar, what a field. The penultimate heat, they're gone. Let's see what happens. It's Kasperzak best to begin. All rough riding there for Lindgren, but the Swede goes to the front. Now he's under pressure from Kasperzak, who races up on the inside. Look at this, will you?
Freddie caught that run and shot across the corner in front of Kasperzak. Changed places already twice in one lap.
Lindgren and Kasperzak. What a battle here, and not too far away is Kenneth Bier. This will go down to the wire. Out the back in the yellow helmet colour is Zagar.
Kasperzak's trying to come back at Lindgren here. He's using the outside. He's come back to the inside, but Lindgren's going a bit wider than everybody else has been so far. And at the moment, he's carrying the speed. Kasprzak's one of the fastest tonight, and he's not being able to pull him back in yet.
Yeah, Freddie Lindgren doing a fantastic job. A yellow flag on display. The Swede is just starting to test the track a little higher up there too.
And Bier's having a go up the inside of Kasprzak. Bier's sneaking around, and he's getting some good speed going.
Lindgren charges to the checkered flag, very close for second place. Kasprzak got there though. Crowd enjoying that one. The racing is getting better and more intense. The first corners are epic. The speed is increasing, so is the bravado. This is a great Grand Prix.
Matty Zagar was a loser there on a tight first turn. He actually made a great start, and he was nearly in the right position. If Lindgren wouldn't have hit that hole and picked up and gone across the corner, I think Zagar would have been in the mix in that race with Bier at the back.
Yeah, and noticeably, Jason, they're starting to drift up higher on the track, looking for the dirt. Lindgren 3, Kasprzak 2, Bier 1, Zagar nothing, despite being very competitive throughout.
Yeah, absolutely, and what you said's right. The track is getting higher, and Lindgren there went wider than anybody's gone yet. So maybe he's going to show a bit of a different line, because Kasprzak couldn't pull him back trying to use that inside run, and almost lost his second place to Bier on the last lap. But let's give Lindgren some credit for that. That was an awesome ride, and he needed points to secure his semi-final spot, and he certainly went out and did that. Here's the start again. Bier's made he hasn't got a good run from gate 1 at all. Kasprzak's shot out. He's going. Zagar, you can see he's had a look over. He's going. Lindgren hits a hole. He's gone up, which Kasprzak saw in his peripheral vision. Zagar's been caught on the outside there and just got a face full of dirt.
He had a very rough ride in the opening lap, Fredrik Lindgren.
He did, but he hung on to it, and look at this, he's pumped up for it.
The Swede.
He's a rider who had, a couple of years ago, he was right in the mix, and I thought there was big things to come from him, and he hasn't quite got it together, but maybe this is the start of the year.
Kasprzak is furious.
He's not happy, but there's Freddie, he's smiling.
He's lost a lot of weight, Freddie Lindgren.
Yeah, he's looking pretty fit, they all are, but again, Christoph Kasprzak, he's dealing with the flu. He's got 13 points from his 5 races. It's not a bad effort, and he's not happy there with his mechanic.
It's a great effort. So the final heat now in the New Zealand FIM Speedway Grand Prix. Batchelor, he scored 3, the Aussie. He lines up in red from gate 1. Hampel, the pole, 5. You'll see him right out of gate 2 in blue. Martin Smolinski, the German. White gate 3, 8 points. And Chris Harris on the outside.
A win here for Hampel puts him into the semi-finals. This is a make or break race here for Jarek at the moment. Yeah, he's got to deal with Smolinski. He's got gate 2, so he's probably pretty happy with that.
Yep, if he wins this, he'll go to 8 points, which would put him equal with Smolinski. Important race. Batchelor on the inside. Great start by Hampel. He may rise to the occasion here. You just heard what Jason Crump said. It's a vital race for him. Charging on the outside is Smolinski. Great battle with Batchelor on the inside. The Aussie making a good scrap out of this one. But the pole, Hampel, the defending New Zealand Grand Prix champion, leads them, but he's under siege. Here's Smolinski.
Smolinski's giving it everything. He's having a proper go, but that's right. Jarek was under immense pressure there. He knew he needed to get the start in the first turn right. And this is what he needed to do for this evening and put a good start onto his World Championship year. Smolinski's still having a good go, but I think Jarek's pulled away enough now to maybe try a couple of different lines and try and figure out where he needs to be for the rest of the night.
Batchelor competing hard, the Australian, and his first full Grand Prix season. I don't think he'd be overly disappointed with what he's achieved so far. He's been in the mix in most of his races. Hampel has risen to the challenge here.
Batchelor's up the
20. Batchelor making a charge on the inside of Smolinski. There's the checkered flag. Hampel has just saved his Grand Prix.
Yeah.
At least for the time being.
Yeah, and that's what these big boys in this series are going to do. You see it time and time again when guys are desperate for points and they can pull it out of the bag.
So Jaroslav Hampel, otherwise known simply as Jarek Hampel, winner of heat number 20, a 3-point haul. And he jumps into the top 8 on 8 points. Heat number 20, Hampel 3 points, then Smolinski, Batchelor. He tried right down to the checker, Chris Harris, coming up with no points there. So, all that remains now are 3 races, being the 2 semis and, of course, the finale. I shouldn't say all that remains now. It's what we've been waiting for all week.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great start by Jarek. Under pressure, knew what he needed to do. His team would have told him clearly what he needed. It's a win or nothing, basically.
How would you describe Batchelor's Grand Prix in New Zealand?
I think he can go away with his head held high. I think he was obviously, you know, pretty nervous before it started, but he's ridden reasonably well. It's a big step up, you know. The league racing's one level, but SGP's another level, and it brings the best out of everybody. And he maybe just needs to be a couple of hundredths of a second or a couple of thousandths of a second quicker to the first turn, and he'll be in there. But a great ride by Jarek. Look at the tyre working on the surface of the track there. That's traction. That's traction and that's speed.
How much air pressure do you think they'd be running in the rear tyres?
A little guy like Jarek could probably be running 7 pound or something like that. You know, he's always the sort of guy who builds his bikes to go fast. I was a teammate of Jarek's for many years in Vetlanda in the Swedish league, and a guy I've got a lot of respect for, and somebody who, when he gets it right, he goes. He's one of the fastest around also, and one of my favourite styles actually on a bike is Jarek Hampel.
For what reason?
Just his smoothness and his skills. I think he's been underestimated in the past, and you know, the last 3 or 4 years in the Grand Prix, he's been one of the most consistent performers without being a world champion. He had a nasty injury 2011 to his ankle, you know, and he came back from that, and you know, week in, week out, Jarek Hampel's one of the top riders in the world. He's definitely in the top 3 in his performances from Swedish and Polish league, and also Grand Prix.
Man, there at the bottom of that picture we just saw briefly with the glasses, one of the biggest sponsors of Speedway in Australia, Mark Bassett, and track prep ahead of the finals tonight being conducted. This circuit I've mentioned twice, 413 metres, 1 metre out from the pole line. It's 488 metres around the fence. The banking 5 degrees on the straights, 10 degrees on the corners.
This is going to be really interesting, the mix-up of starting choice positions in the semi-finals. I can't see Nicky Pedersen will do anything other than go from gate 1, but I may be wrong, because he will want to get to that dirt on the exit of the second turn. So let's see what comes up.
Okay, so here's some vision now of the draw in the pit area. We'll just await FIM confirmation prior to the draw being conducted. And the fans, well, they are on the edge of their seats here tonight. You can just see that this meeting is developing into something very special. A little bit of track work being conducted in the interim. We saw the World Championship trophy on display a little earlier, and you just then saw the trophies for the FIM New Zealand Speedway Grand Prix.
It's going to be interesting here to see what's going to happen with the semi-final. I'm not sure how it goes, but Ty Wolfenden and Andreas Jonsson are exactly equal on points. They've both had a last, they've both had a third and 3 seconds. When they met in the heat races, Andreas actually got the nod, so we'll see what happens there, whether it's Andreas or Ty who go through. But Greg must be kicking himself, because 1 or 2 points more, and he was in, you know.
He'll be lamenting lost opportunities. There is no doubt he'll have a lot of trouble sleeping tonight. This track, they've been working on it ahead of tonight's Grand Prix for 18 days. Work started here. And it's a big job. This circuit has a concrete wall, which is mandatory for the type of activity that's held at Western Springs every other weekend with sprint cars and midgets, or speed cars as some people know them as. So they actually had to construct a wooden fence on the inside of the concrete fence. And you can see in that shot there exactly what I'm talking about. it is a Herculean task to turn a venue like this into a Grand Prix level track.
Yeah, absolutely. The work that goes in is unbelievable. The wooden fence must not be against the concrete perimeter. There must be a gap between it. So that's why that's there. And then, of course, the best invention in Speedway almost, the air fence, you know, sits onto the wooden fence. So safety is paramount. You know, the speeds that are around that the Speedway bikes are reaching these days, the air fence is certainly a blessing for everybody in Speedway who throws a leg over a bike.
Yeah, 2,500 tonnes of material, shale, has been locally sourced here in New Zealand to top dress the surface, which obviously is a clay surface. Let's look at the gate win stats for the New Zealand FIM Grand Prix thus far. 9 from red on the inside, then blue the next most successful. What are you thinking, Jason?
I'm thinking that if I had Nicky Pedersen's first choice, I would probably definitely be going for gate 1. I can't see him doing anything, but what the gate stats don't show us is who actually made the start or who missed the start, because we've had such a great amount of racing tonight. You know, the positions have been swapping almost lap by lap in some races.
The other thing too is that when you look at the red gate, they're being dominant again. We've mentioned several times throughout the call that has been commonplace here over the last couple of years, but in reality the red gate really dominated in that last round.
Well, I think, yeah, I don't think Kenneth made a great one in heat 19 from gate 1. Troy certainly didn't win it from gate 1 in heat 20, but I think at this stage of the evening, if I had a choice of gates, I'd be taking gate 1 for sure.
Not going to argue with you. You've got half a clue about the business.
No, it's as some of the guys pointed out before, there are a couple of lines. Just now the dirt seems to be building up a bit more on the outside, so the guys are going to want to get out, but Nicky's history as a rider would suggest gate 1. It would suggest he'll still end up wherever he wants to be on the first turn, and you know, that's his prerogative, so that's where he'll be going.
The glorious uncertainties of Speedway racing so often come to the fore. So obviously the heat racing performances determine semi-finalists, but as we all know, once the semi-finals come around, anything can happen. And you've been there yourself, where you've dominated race meetings and then the world's been tipped upside down in the semis.
Yeah, I've actually had it. I've gone through 5 races, 5 wins, and thought, yep, this is going to be an easy night. Gate 1 in the semi-final, and I think Yarra Campbell made me cry in about 30 metres of the race. By the first turn, I was done and dusted and should have pulled over and saved fuel.
Everyone having a ball at Western Springs, a venue steeped in Speedway tradition. I can't believe that we're 20 years into this Grand Prix series with this format after the traditional one-day World Final was the norm for so many years. Where has the years gone, Jason?
Well, I don't know, but you're making me feel old, David, because I was actually in a Grand Prix in the first year. I wasn't a permanent rider, but is it really that long ago?
It is. It is.
There's Nicky. He's as happy as you can be. He deserves it. He deserves to be where he is. He's ridden the blinder of the meeting.
So they now prepare the semi-finalists for the draw, and Pedersen goes first. Jason has indicated he'll take gate 1, and he's gone for gate 2.
Whoa.
Wow, there's a shock.
Frederick Lindgren cannot believe his luck at the moment. He's got to go gate 1. Yeah. That is a surprise for me. But Nicky had gate 2 in his last heat race, so maybe he knows something down there that I don't up here. Not a surprise, actually. Chris taking 4 ahead of 3. Yarrick's left with the scraps of white.
Yep.
Generally probably the worst gate, because that's pretty much the line that everybody rides over down the straight.
So Pedersen chooses blue, Lindgren red.
You said you weren't going to argue with me, but you should have.
I know better than to do that, Jason. You've made me look like a goose too many times before.
Andreas Jonsson's in, Ty Wolfenden's out.
Okay.
Kasprzak gate 1 straight away. Smolly gate 2.
So Smolinski in blue. And Bier.
He's checking what the previous heats have done. He's not sure. He's gone 4 as well. Leaves Andreas off 3. So 3 is the one that nobody wants.
And Andreas begrudgingly takes it. So there it is for you. Kasperzak, Smolinski, Jonsson and Bier.
Yeah.
In the second semi-final.
Well,
so Lindgren in the first semi-final will start in red, Pedersen in blue, Hampel white and Holder yellow. So if you're Chris Holder, given the way things have panned out, what are you thinking?
Make the best start that I've made all night and go as fast as I can. You know, anybody who says that they've got a tactic going off the start around the first corner on a speedway bike, if you're off gate 1 and it's a really great gate, you can sometimes pick what you're going to do, but when you're off gate 4, you give it the lot.
Let's go down to Mark Gottlieb now, who's with a very disappointed, I'm sure, Greg Hancock.
Yes, that's right. Greg must be really disappointed to be missing out on that semi-final.
Yeah, it feels like those 3 zeros woke me up out of hibernation, you know, and realized the winter's over. So for me, it's to get back in business. But I'm glad I came away with 2 wins there because I battled hard. I can't really put a finger on exactly what happened, but it's beginning of the year.
Obviously, 6 points at least helps in that long season, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Those 6 points are going to go all the way, you know, and this is a good wake-up call. And now, you know, we were feeling good, but, you know, sometimes you get a little rattle.
Obviously, World Championship at the end of this season is the goal. Where do you go from here?
Well, you know, and we head back to Europe right away. So whatever we did or didn't do right tonight, we're going to try to put it to good form and be ready for Bydgoszcz in a few weeks' time. But till then, it's back in business, lots of racing to do.
Thank you to Greg. Always managing a smile. He will be bitterly disappointed. It's less than ideal way of starting the 2014 campaign at a venue he would have been really looking forward to coming to.
Well, the first time he's missed a final, I think, here. You know, he certainly looked good in practice. You couldn't have faulted his form in practice, but he just didn't manage to make any starts in his first 3 races. And a couple of times he was in a tricky situation and didn't pan out for him. But here are the guys for the first semi-final. They're all focusing their concentration on their start and first turn.
Okay, so now we're at the business end of proceedings. First semi-final of the New Zealand Grand Prix. I think it's been an absolutely cracking event.
It has, and the decision by Nicky Pedersen to take A2, I'm still surprised about it.
If only people could have seen your face in our commentary box trackside when the Danish triple world champion opted for gate 2, you almost fell out of the box.
Surprised, absolutely stunned. But again, when Nicky's confident, and he's very, very confident tonight, I mean, he deserves to be the way he's riding. He probably feels he can make the start from any gate with anybody, and maybe he's happier with the position that gate 2 is going to give him on the first turn.
Well, very much the individual trusting his decision. First semi-final. A start is imminent with the Swedish rider Lindgren on the inside. He is joined at the starting taste by Pedersen, the top point scorer. Rode through qualifying undefeated. Blue gate 2. Hampel, he's not out of this by any means. The pole from gate 3 and Holder, same applies. The yellow gate 4. Lindgren's been tremendous. This will be a beauty. Can't wait. Good to have you with us. This is what it's all about. Into the semi-finals. The grand final is just around the corner. Who will be the New Zealand Grand Prix champion? We don't have to wait long now to find out.
Chris Holder's doing plenty of work off gate 4, right up next to the fence. Maybe he's found something up there that he likes. He's going to need a bit of help to get there from that position. So come on, Chris.
He was looking at the heavens then, not because he was praying, because he was trying to make sure his goggles don't fog. So semi-final number 1, opening GP of season 2014. Who will it be? The top 2 into the final. They're gone. Lindgren, a pretty good start over on the inside. Pedersen, beautiful work by the Dane. He charges to the lead and then he's overtaken on the inside by Lindgren. Pedersen comes fighting back on the inside though. He's down low on the circuit. And Holder, Chris Holder, doing a tremendous job too. Here comes the thunder from down under.
Lindgren's just taken a big dive. He's moved Pedersen right over. Holder's through.
Chris Holder into second. Pedersen, is it possible he'll miss the final after being the top man all night? They come off turn number 4 and the race leader here is Frederick Lindgren. Chris Holder in second. Pedersen driving up hard on the inside now. He got a great run there, Crumpy.
He got a great run up the inside of Chris Holder. Chris didn't quite have the momentum, but Frederick Lindgren.
Yellow flag on display. Lindgren the leader, last lap. Pedersen is in second. Holder looking for the big outside slingshot here. What a race in the first semi-final.
Holder's gone for the big one on the last turn. He's gone wide. Can he get it? Can he get it? Oh, Nicky's
got
gone.
chopped out. Pedersen getting into a bit of bother and he blocked Holder's charge. What a race.
What an unbelievable race, Frederick Lindgren. He moved Nicky Pedersen over there completely, gave Chris Holder the whole track on the inside to get through, which he took. Nicky Pedersen fought back past Chris Holder. What a race.
Crumpy,
unbelievable.
I know you were desperate to speak, but my appearance in that event sponsored by Panadol. Can I please sit down? Semi-final number 1, Lindgren. Outstanding performance. He and Pedersen go to the final tonight. Holder and Hampel eliminated. But gee, Chris, he gave it one heck of a fight.
I'll tell you what, Chris Holder can go away from the first Grand Prix he's been in for about 9 months with his head held high. What a performance, gutsy performance by Chris. Frederick Lindgren, what a stunner. Straight up the inside of Nicky Pedersen there, no mercy. Nicky went with him and stayed up high. Nicky's even looking happy with a second place.
This routine or habit he's got of getting his mechanic to blow dry him after the events.
To cool him down. Nicky obviously made the start there. Freddie's hit the rut again here. He got it under control quickly and got a great run. Straight across the front of Nicky. Nicky's cut back. At this point, Chris is just going on a piece of track that's available. But again, Nicky off the start, magnificent. Great first turn by Frederick. Chris is kind of going where he can. Nicky's back up the inside. Awesome run. Freddie goes in very, very deep. I almost thought too deep, and Chris had come up the inside. He changes directions here. I haven't quite seen it. Here's where Nicky gets Chris. He rode a great corner there as well, just to out-drag Chris. Chris actually lifted a bit and lost his run. But Chris had a big go on the last turn and almost got it. Nicky saw him coming and just straight lined it out of the corner, which is clearly what you have to do. But
Lindgren, fighting fit. His off-season preparation has been one based on physical preparation as much as his bikes, and it's showing. Great ride by the Swede.
Yeah, he's looking in good shape actually.
Why did he fucking catch me in?
Nicky telling it how it is.
Yeah, Nicky's just, you know, expressing himself as he does.
No, but hey, it's an emotional time, and you know, these things can be said at certain times. But absolutely great point by Nicky there. Why did he catch me?
Okay, Kasperzak, red, the pole, gate 1. The German Smolinski, blue, gate 2. The Swede, Jonsson, white, gate 3. The Dane, Kenneth Bier, yellow, gate 4. If this race is as good as the first semi-final, we're going to need a decent supply of headache tablets up here.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see the lines on the first turn, because Smolinski's success came inside. Let's see if he's going to do that again.
God, you got to love this stuff, haven't you? Speedway Grand Prix at its best. Brilliant stuff. Under blazing floodlights in Auckland, New Zealand. Racing racing in the second semi-final. The clutches fly, so too the tapes. Kasperzak, a beautiful start on the inside. Here's Smolinski though. The German goes to the front. Unbelievable.
He did it. He's been doing it all night. He's done it again in the semi-final, but Kasperjak's winding it up on the outside. Here he comes. No, Kasperzak up the inside.
Great move.
Smolinski's going to be back there though to drag him down the straight.
Here comes the German on the inside, taking it up to the race leader again. It's Johnson in third, Bier in fourth. We're going to battle raging up front here. A tremendous battle in the red helmet colour. Kasperzak is the leader in advance of the German Smolinski. What a GP by the German Smolinski. He's been so good tonight. He's down low on the circuit, driving hard on the inside of Kasperzak. One to run.
That's it. That's that inside line working for him. Kasperzak's changed his lineup. He's coming in really tight and letting the bike run right up to the banking and dirt on the exit of the turns. It's working a treat for him. But Smolinski's just plugging away around the inside and
Kasperzak takes it, Jason. He wins the second semi-final. Smolinski second. He will be pinching himself.
Yeah.
His debut GP season, he makes the final.
What a performance. I take my hat off to the guy. I'll be honest, I did not expect that. But what a performance by Kasperzak. I mean, he's been one of those riders. He's struggled a little bit from the back, but he's shown some unbelievable racing skills tonight.
Wow. Kasperzak and Smolinski into the final. Bier and Johnson eliminated from the event, but they've nonetheless made the semis, so they would consider the first round of the championship moderately successful.
Oh, without a doubt. The semi-finals are always the aim.
So Pedersen on 17 with the final still to come. Kasperzak, Lindgren and Smolinski. They are your four finalists, ladies and gentlemen.
Kasperzak's struggling. Look at him. It's unbelievable. He's had the flu and he's battled all night. He's got to be running out of energy at some point.
Well, that was probably a long time ago, but he just keeps finding something.
Man, he made a beautiful start from the inside. Probably needs to think about keeping it a bit tighter on the first turn. Smolinski read the maneuver and didn't go with him at all. He's cut back. He's got the smoothest run out of everybody on the inside through those ruts consistently all night, apart from the one incident with Darcy. But Kasperzak really opened it up and had a go.
I would have considered Smolinski making the final tonight a couple of 100 to 1.
I would say, yeah. Here we go with Kasperzak. He's gone in really, really wide. He's gone probably a bit wider than most, and he's got a great run there. And straight back to the inside, and Smolinski.
So, one thing that is for certain, by virtue of what we've seen tonight, we are in for a fantastic 2014 World Championship.
Yeah.
Many, many contenders.
This is a first round.
Yeah, and the winner of that semi-final, Kasperzak, he is one of them. So Smolinski.
He's having a couple of jelly beans by the look of it.
Yeah, looking for a sugar hit, a glucose hit. 29 years of age. Won, or rather came fourth in the GP Challenge to earn his berth in the 2014 World Championship. German Speedway champion in 2010, 2009 and 2007. And won the European pairs with Germany in 2013. So his credentials not shabby.
No, he's not a bad rider. He's in the Grand Prix, you know. There's no free tickets here. But I think I'm right in saying I don't think Smolinski rides in the English league or the Polish league. I don't even know if he rides in the Swedish league, actually.
No, he doesn't. He's only riding in the Grand Prix in Denmark this season.
That's an unbelievable commitment. I mean, it's a strange decision by the man. But
he's obviously got good financial backing to be able to afford to do that.
Yeah, he races long track as well, which is a big sport. Long track and grass track in Germany is a big sport, and he's pretty much involved in that scene as well.
Okay, let's head downstairs. Mark Gottlieb is with Chris Holder.
Chris, you looked like you had Nicky there, but he shut the gate on you, didn't he?
I don't have to say anything. That's what he does. He's pretty brutal, so that's the way it goes. But, you know, I'm pretty happy with 11 points. It was good. The last race, the semi, I had some speed, which is never always battled around here. So looking back, 11 points is a good start to the championship. You know, first GP and first one back from injuries and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, I'm just so disappointed not to get through. But we've got 11 more GPs to play with each other. So looking forward to it.
Obviously, a lot of Aussie fans out there. Do they inspire you to sort of produce the effort tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I want to, and do it for them, really. You know, that's a long way to come for all of us to get here and race, and you got a lot of support too, so it's always good. It would have been, you know, unreal for me or Darcy or Troy to be in the final, but we all had a bit of an up and down night, so hopefully Darky's good to go again for 2 weeks, and you know, me and Troy will be back again.
Yeah, thank you to Chris, and well done, Mark, who's been pretty busy boy in the pits tonight. I love Chris Holder's attitude, and look, you can't sugarcoat it. He's not happy with Nicky Pedersen.
No, well, no one would be. You know, no one would be in a racing situation like that. But Nicky was, you know, he knew what he had to do. If he didn't get out and, you know, close the door for Chris, then Chris was going by him. It probably happened a little bit later. I don't think Nicky probably anticipated Chris was going to get such a good run by going so wide, but he sure did, and he was coming fast. He had to get off the throttle, that's for sure. But that was a hard manoeuvre by Nicky, but you know, nothing really wrong, I don't think there. Just a tough racing manoeuvre, and things like that happen in Grand Prix, especially when there's a final berth up for grabs. But Chris can walk away from this with his head held high. I think he's ridden fantastically well. The year he won the World Championship in 2012, I think he left New Zealand with something like 3 or 4 points. He had a disastrous night. His son was actually born during the night before that Grand Prix, and you know, he still went on to win the World Championship. So great effort. Here's our 4 finalists. Gate 1 for Christoph Kaspjak. Again, no surprise. Let's see, Freddie Lindgren will go for Gate 2, I'm pretty sure, or is he going to go high? Yeah, Gate 2 for Frederick. Good choice. Nicky's next. He's going to take Gate 3, I would think. Yep.
I take the yellow one, you know. This one I'm yellow as a can.
Smolinski's happy.
Go. Lovely. Yoo-hoo.
I can't believe it. What a night the guy's had. You've got to be happy for him.
He's a genuine character, isn't he? So Kaspjak will start on the inside. Freddie Lindgren from Gate 2 in blue. Nicky Pedersen in white from 3. And Martin Smolinski in yellow from gate number 4.
I'm going to make a statement here. Smolinski's going to go along the fence off the start, and he's not even going to get into the mix in the outside on the first turn. He's going to exit the first turn with his front wheel on that white curb and see what happens.
Classic cutback.
He is going to do that. I'm pretty sure of it. You can argue if you want, but that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
There's every chance I won't argue with you yet again. We'll have to pick something to argue about maybe later on that I actually can be competitive in. I'm not going to question your Speedway bike strategies.
No, that's just a prediction of the way he's been on the track tonight.
Well, I think he's got no choice other than to do that. I don't think he's
going
only hope.
I don't think he's going to be able to make the gate across Nicky Pedersen off gate 3. But you know, stranger things have happened, I suppose. But Kaspjak's going to be happy down there on gate 1, and I would think he's probably going to be able to dictate what happens on the entry to the first turn. Whether he gets it right on his exit, that's what we're all going to watch in a couple of minutes.
So the first final of season 2014 in the FIM World Grand Prix is just minutes away. We've been waiting a very long time for this. It's a long off season. I'm not sure that necessarily applies for the riders. It probably comes around too quickly with the amount that they have to do in preparation, both physically, resources, and the infrastructure of their teams.
It almost doesn't stop. I mean, as I said before, with you know, guys like Nicky Pedersen and Greg Hancock, and you know, speaking from my own experiences, it was basically one season finished. You know, different guys. I did different things. I used to sometimes do testing at the end of the season while I was still in race mode to try some new things out for the following year. But for sure, you know, guys are working full-time, their teams are working full-time, their management teams are working full-time. And actually, an interesting point, Ty Wolfenden's manager, Peter Adams, who's one of the most renowned team managers individually in the British Elite League, and a manager of former world champions, riders like Ollie Olsen and Bruce Penhall, guided them to world championships. He's not here this weekend with Ty Wolfenden. And I would almost think that that's probably the first Grand Prix. I think he went to every Grand Prix last year, and I was a bit surprised that Peter wasn't here with him this year. Peter's his team boss at Wolverhampton Wolves in the British Elite League.
It's a very good point that you allude to, and thank you for that insight. So your 4 finalists on screen.
You can hear Kasprzak coughing on his bike before the start, before they've started up.
It's been a miraculous and remarkable performance by him. We saw from the moment he rode in his first heat how unwell he is. But heck, this is a world championship. He's pushed through the pain barrier, and well done to him, irrespective of what happens here.
Yeah, no, great performance. And, you know, every rider in this field's tough. And if there was one I would have questioned on their toughness, he was one. But he's shown tonight that he's up for it.
So the grand final of the New Zealand Grand Prix, the Buckley Systems New Zealand FIM Grand Prix, is next up. Martin Smolinski making the world stand up and take notice tonight. Kasprzak has shown great toughness. There he is on the inside. There is Nicky Pedersen, the Dane. A big chance here. And the 4 riders, and the way they'll line up now on screen. Kasprzak, the pole on the inside. The Swede Fredrik Lindgren is by no means out of this. Pedersen, the Dane, in white, and Smolinski. Anything's possible from him. Yellow helmet colour, gate 4.
Fredrik Lindgren's looked quicker and quicker as the night's gone on, so I wouldn't underestimate him. You can't underestimate any of these 4 in the final. This is going to be a fantastic race, and the charge to the first corner, I don't think, is going to give us a full outcome of the race from what we've seen so far tonight.
That man on screen, Lindgren, has been great with a capital G. So welcome everyone to our coverage in the final of the New Zealand Speedway Grand Prix. Round 1 of 12 to determine the 2014 World Championship. A massive crowd in the stadium, beautiful evening, world-class speedway at its very best, and you have not missed a thing. The riders on edge. The focus is extreme. 4 laps of fury. Who will it be? Away, Kasprzak, not too bad. He might lead into the first corner. Lindgren, he runs out wide there, and Pedersen surges up on the inside. Kasprzak is the leader. Look at Smolinski coming through on the inside.
What a start by Kasprzak. He had to move Lindgren pretty wide on the first turn. Nicky Pedersen in second place here. He's going to chase Kasprzak down, but he's quick. Christoph's quick. Smolinski's run around the inside is just not quite working at the moment. The track's moved wide, but Pedersen's not letting him get away, and Lindgren's having a go up the inside of Nicky.
Yeah, and
Nicky's on him.
Smolinski's having a go on the inside of him, so Kasprzak's
got
the leader.
too wide.
Here's
Smolinski.
Smolinski also. They're separated by millimetres. Kasprzak is the leader.
He's
now
going
we see
too wide.
Pedersen on the inside. Pedersen goes to the front. Kasprzak almost comes off. The Dane hits the lead. Look at Smolinski. The German, he's come from nowhere. Martin Smolinski is the new leader. Can he do it? Pedersen on the inside. They run to the checkered flag, and the German wins it. How does he do it?
You're kidding me.
You've just witnessed a miracle. From gate 4, he's come from nowhere. My goodness. Now I have seen it all.
That is a speedway race that you will not forget. What an unbelievable performance by that man. Nicky Pedersen, Christoph Kasprzak and Fredrik Lindgren, they probably cannot believe whose hand they're shaking at the moment.
Unbelievable. What a race. in New Zealand. That Martin Smolinski has produced a sporting miracle. That is incredible.
Look at the guy's wheelies. He can't believe it. What a performance. I didn't think the inside was working for him, and the rest of the guys seemed to all get tangled up. Kasprzak went too wide. Nicky had the run on the inside. They were in the middle of nowhere, and Smolinski had the whole track. It was his line. That was the only line they left. It was the only place to go. He had to be on the grass. There was no other place for him.
They were all going crazy, and he capitalised. Unbelievable. I know I keep saying it, but I just can't believe what I have just seen.
Kasprzak and Nicky Pedersen aren't too happy here. I don't think Kasprzak's too happy with him at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a drama here.
No, Kasprzak's walking away. He's walked away. No, that's good to see. It was a hard manoeuvre by Nicky, but you know, it's the A final, Christoph. Don't go so wide, man. He left the gap open.
Been a tough effort by this man tonight. Very unwell.
He's going to be gutted because that final was there for 2.5 of the 4 laps. He led it.
Look at Martin Smolinski. He is smiling like a carpet snake in a foul house, Jason Crump. I had to get it in sometime.
I haven't heard you say it for a while, but you're absolutely right. He can't believe what's going on. I just hope they've got the German national hymn here for him for the victory parade.
What a race. Well, that was just a marvellous culmination of an incredible event.
Yeah, man, you would not have picked that, but maybe we should have gone down to the bookies. Ty Wolfenden was 500 to 1 last year.
Martin Smolinski from Germany.
He can't even believe it himself, I don't think.
The winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. Look at the smile. Unbelievable. Nicky Pedersen second. Christoph Kasprzak third. And Fredrik Lindgren, hold your head high. Great event tonight by the Swede.
Yeah, absolutely. What a race, though. Here's a start.
Take us through this, Jason Crump,
well,
please.
Fredrik Lindgren actually made the start on Kasprzak, but Christoph got there on the first turn. They've just gone straight on. They've gone high. The rest of the track's available for these two. Smolinski didn't do what I thought he was going to do. From that point on, you're thinking Kasprzak's away with it. Freddie's got a bit of roost there. Smolinski's at the back. From this angle, we'll see how tight they were into the corner. Yeah, they're very tight there. Christoph didn't give Freddie much room to turn. He's got around. Here comes Nicky up the inside, but Christoph's away. Smolly's come up the inside. He's off the throttle there, and he's just curb crawled. Oh, that was tight. Nicky was across the front of Kasprzak. Kasprzak's off the throttle, and that's what gave Smolinski the run on the inside. He gave Nicky a pretty hard time there. But A finals, that's it. Nicky's nearly run into the back of him again, and Smolinski's, he can't believe it.
We're going to hear from the winner right now. Let's head downstairs to Mark Gottlieb.
Martin, are you the happiest man in New Zealand right now?
It's unbelievable, you know. I'm working since 20 years for this goal. There are not many people, a lot of people against me. We had a lot of troubles the last days here in the pits. But I think I showed which pace we have. And I just can say a big thank you very much, because there are so much fans at home. They're just sitting on television. Thank you, boys. I felt good.
Can you take us through that pass at the end? That was sensational riding.
I mean, which passes? This is Mr. Number 84. I never give up, you know. I'm clever. My team is working also, my engines, the whole system, my personal trainer, you know. To be in the right moment, in the extreme situation, very clever, make a step backward like you're boxing, and then you go forward and you shoot back, and that's what I have done. I mean, this is just the way how I'm working, you know. That's the main reason why I'm not doing so many races, but I'm going 100%, you know, be fit on the right point, and here I am in the GPs, and I win my first ever GP, and it's unbelievable.
As you said, you're focusing just on the 2 leagues and Grand Prix Series. That's paid off perfectly, hasn't it?
Look about me. No one believed in it, but I showed what he can do.
All right, thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all my fans. Schöne Grüße nach Hause. Ihr seid einfach geil, ihr seid Spitze.
You know what? He is very good for this sport.
Yeah, he's a character. There's no doubt about that. And as far as anybody writing him off, no one writes anybody off in the Grand Prix.
So Pedersen taking a 19-point haul from Auckland, Kasperzak 17. Smolinski, the winner of the GP 15. Lindgren, then Holder, Bier, Hampel, and Wolfenden. And you can see the riders placed from 9 through to 15. He alluded to the problems he had in the pits. We should mention that because there was a problem with scrutineering with his bikes.
There was also that problem with his scrutineering with the bikes, but that was sorted out very quickly by the technical people here. I think there was some bad feeling on the aeroplane on the way over between some of the mechanics behind the scene. I think that's what he's alluding to.
Yeah, he had issues ahead of the meeting. Probably an hour out from the meeting, he was told he had to do certain things to his bikes to make them legal.
Yeah, and obviously it didn't hamper them at all. So maybe it's what I thought all along. I thought it was there for a bit of showmanship, but I've never heard anybody in their post-race interviews comparing speedway racing to boxing, and maybe that's in.
Yeah, we'll come back to that as we pause for the anthem. Martin Smolinski, the New Zealand Grand Prix champion. He is on top of
in third
the world.
place from Poland, Krzysztof Kasprzak. Presenting the trophy is four-time World Speedway champion Barry Briggs, MBE.
Very, very courageous performance by that man tonight, as we've alluded to a number of times. And now here's Nicky. That boxing analogy that you alluded to with Smolinski. Here is Bill Buckley, the man that makes all of this possible in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Presenting the hardware.
Rightly so to the winner.
The sport is extremely indebted to that man on screen.
No doubt about that.
Has put up the big bucks to bring the GP to New Zealand on 3 occasions. Look at that smile. Good on him. He will develop a cult following. He's a real character, clearly a very good rider.
Yeah, he's going to be good for the sport. I mean, it's another nationality in as well, and you know,
we haven't seen too many world-class Germans in recent times.
No, I mean, apart from the long track scene where you had German champions, world champions, guys like Gerd Riss and Karl Mayer and Robert Bach. Before that, you've got to go a long way back. I mean, Egon Müller was Speedway world champion in the early 1980s. He's the only real German who's had any success in Speedway racing.
Martin Smolinski is having the time of his life. Good on him. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. One of the best Grand Prix I've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, what a fantastic night of racing, and the result was. I did say before the final, the result of the final wouldn't be decided on the first lap. I didn't know it was going to be that exciting, but there we go. What a great race.
Do you reckon he might celebrate for a couple of days?
I hope he does, because it's important that you take it all in when you win Grand Prix. There are things that don't come along every other weekend. You know, Grand Prix wins are hard to come by, and you certainly got to enjoy the moment, then start winding down, and then in a week's time he wants to start to build himself up again for the next Grand Prix.
Christoph Kasperzak. He looks a lot better now, doesn't he? He looks healthier. It's all over. He's thinking, I can actually enjoy it now.
Yeah.
But he has shown again tonight he's underlined his world class, there's no doubt.
Yeah, and you know, he's been one of those riders on the fringes for a few years. There's a few of them. Niels Christian Iversen came up last year and got a 3rd place in the championship. Matty Zagar's another one. Freddie Lindgren is another one. You know, they've shown glimpses of their form, but they haven't been able to put it together for a year. So, you know, with any luck for Christoph, he'll be able to do it this year.
Yeah, we are in for a tremendous World Championship in 2014. So many other riders that can be in the mix as genuine contenders. Hampel, Bier, Jonsson on his night. We know how good he can be. Woofenden, Hancock, Zagar. You've mentioned Iversen, Darcy Ward, Chris Holder.
Yeah,
doesn't end, does it?
No, it doesn't. And this is World Championship Speedway. That's why it's, you know, it's a great sport. It's one of the most exciting sports to watch. And I mean, what we've seen tonight. Tell me something that's better. Tell me something that a motorsport event you've seen on TV that's been better than this.
You've got my vote, Crumpy.
I mean, what an unbelievable night.
Motorsport like this.
No, and you know, we've said it earlier in the evening about the track preparation by Ollie Olsen and his team. Ollie's put a couple of stinkers out there in the past, but hats off to him tonight. What a tremendous racetrack. And, you know, when you have passing like that all the way through the night and it still carries on to the final race, 23 races.
The last lap of the final race.
Absolutely.
No, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant by all stakeholders. And a new star has been born tonight.
I believe so. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can produce once the series gets back to Europe. And, you know, we'll see how his theory on doing it, which is way different than any other rider has ever done before. You know, he's talking about riding, you know, once a week. You know, the leading riders in the Grand Prix are racing, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a week.
No, it's exactly right. It's a radical departure from the norm. Jason, congratulations, if I can say, your debut tonight. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be involved.
A wonderful insight by one of the world's greatest ever riders. And really appreciate your contribution to our program today from New Zealand. And hopefully we'll hear a lot more of you going forward. So we'll wrap it up now by having a look at some of the highlights of today's event in Western Springs, New Zealand. The world's best riders, they came in search of glory. They were given an outstanding racetrack, as Jason Crump, our 3-time world champion, has just highlighted. Every rider was able to put his best foot forward on a beautifully prepared racing surface. There were so many riders in the mix that showed not just how competitive they were going to be tonight, and one of them was Kasperzak, who showed great toughness to continue on in the meeting despite feeling so ill. And that man Smolinski was looking for a fairy tale, and it turned out he delivered it. Pedersen was the man to beat. He was outstanding right throughout the qualifying heats, emerged undefeated. And of course we saw the Australian Darcy Ward. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 massive crashes. The third one after being taken out by the eventual winner, Martin Smolinski. And of course Darcy was transported to hospital for further examination, and we wish him well. He is one of the major contenders. So Pedersen, Kasperzak, Lindgren, Holder. As you look at the Darcy Ward accident that I've just alluded to, Bier, Hampel, Jonsson, and a number of others, they'll all have their turn in season 2014. Greg Hancock, a shocking start to the event. Pointless after 3 rides, was able to come surging back with 2 fine victories. But once again underline that he will be there and competitive in the 2014 World Championship. Naturally, we saw plenty of temper tantrums. We saw heroes, we saw heartbreak. Lindgren firing an early warning.